What's good, everybody? Whoa, my mic is peaking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Blank is getting. Oh, hold on. Let me fix this real quick. Alright, that should be better. Flank should be getting uploaded shortly. Val's had some issues uploading it last night. So. Val's had a little bit of issues. Well, I need to fix a bunch of shit here. Hold on. I'm trying to fix like Caster Labs real quick. There we go. Show platform. Show activities. There you go. Why no AC, bro? So my parents had to replace their AC unit over the winter because I guess it like died. I don't know. And they never like fully finished it. So like it got hot in New York this week. There's like literally yesterday before I got here, or 2 days ago, my mom called me, just to check up on like, me flying in yesterday. She was like, oh, by the way, there's no AC in the house. Like they got to come take a look. So they came this morning and they're flushing out the line and they're going to come back later while I'm doing this fucking stream, which will be a little bit annoying, but whatever, chat, whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is, bro. We move. Let me fix a chat box. Yeah. How long am I there? I'm here until Tuesday. I fly back early Tuesday. So today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and probably Monday, I'll be streaming from here. I'm not going to take Monday off. I'll take Tuesday off just because I'm flying back. Also, my camera sucks today. It'll get better tomorrow. I forgot to bring a USB 3 cable for it. So that's getting fixed tomorrow. So today you got this shitty 1080p camera. It'll be better tomorrow, trust. Actually, let me turn the light on. I was thinking about golfing, but it would only be like today. And I was like, we got to stream and shit. Like, it's not really worth it for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got shit to do. Yeah, I'm at my parents' house, guys. I'm at my parents' house. That's why you see, like, fucking, like, random pictures, you know what I'm saying? Like, me and my brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get random photos like that around here. I don't know what these are. Oh, I'll break them. So. Is it hot? Yes. No, guys. So the deal is, this is not the house I grew up in. The house I grew up in, we moved out of in 2008 when I was in college. This is where my parents moved to the city for like a year, and then they moved to this townhouse. So, but they're moving out in a year. They're retiring. My dad's fucking done, and they're retiring, and they're gonna move elsewhere out of the city. Out of New York, sorry. I'm thinking about maybe going to game 2, Nick. I'm thinking about maybe going to game 2. I'm really thinking about it. It's Monday night, so it's super doable. Guys, we're gonna lock in the Jersey Jerry interview and then get ready for the CoDCast. Actually, how long is the Jersey Jerry video? 38 minutes? We got a little bit of time then. What's good, Zuma's son, Tomasi Jr.? Clippers choked last night. I'll be honest, I did not watch the game. I watched the highlights this morning. Moved the fam to Frisco. Low-key, they thought about moving to Dallas. It's still possible. They haven't decided yet, Matt, what they're doing. I will say the reason that I'm here is because they're going on a trip to Colorado to take a look at potentially... They're thinking about potentially moving to, like, the Boulder area. So that's why I'm here babysitting the dog, because they're off, you know, trying to figure out if they want to move to Colorado. I will be on the flank this weekend. I think I am not on... I'm not on Saturday, but Friday and Sunday I'm on. We have to, the reason is because Sam can't do, we have a bit of a rotation we gotta do. Sam can't do Sunday, Chris Duarte's not here all next week, and Dylan can't do next Saturday. So, like, Nub will be on twice this week. Nub is on Saturday and Sunday this week. Oh, yeah, I know Colorado's got that good of a I'm aware. Guys, I also think we're going to be able to make the CoDCast work on the stream. I'm 0-2 in the Madden League, but I got a game today, and we can get back to 500. We're going to work on that today. Can we see the dog? Yeah, I can grab the dog. 1 second. Don't say hi, Ice Cream. Say hi, Ice Cream. He has to wear a diaper, chat, because he's old as fuck. He old, chat. He old. That's why I'm here babysitting. He's like, well, they got him in like 2010, so he's like 16 years old. He old, bro. You can barely see. His bladder barely works. He's on blood pressure medication. He's an old dog, bro. So, all right, let's lock in. Let's watch this Jersey Jerry video. We're gonna get to the CoDCast. I actually don't know. Did Ant even make a? I don't know. Did Ant even make a fucking outline for today? Let's see. Let's see, man. Outline for today. Let's see. CoDCasts. Let's see. Did he make an outline for today? You did. New maps, NPC, overload timer, roster moves, stage 3, marquee matchups, Collins. Yeah, seems like a pretty good show. We'll have a good CoDCast. But let's lock into Jersey Jerry did a nice interview with the boys over. Well, I'm gonna make the camera a little bit smaller on this. Screen looks good, by the way, chat, right? Screen looks good. Screen looks good. Flank, if it's not out, should be out soon. Val's had PC issues last night, and he resolved that and should be good now. I'm gonna take the chat off the screen. Okay. Let's lock in. So Jerry did an interview with the boys, Enigma and Dandra, the goats, and it seems like 38 minutes. So let's pop in. Let's see what Jerry talked about.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome in to a little special episode this week. As part of This Week in Challengers, we thought we'd bring in one of the bosses of Challengers. I think we can say that efficiently. We got none other than Jersey Jerry from the Bush here. Enigma and I are very excited to talk to you. Jerry, how you doing?
Laying the links. I don't know, Jake. You tell me.
I'm doing great, man. Thank you guys for having me. Pumped up. As you know, I've interacted with you guys in the past on YouTube and whatnot and Twitter, and just appreciate you guys reaching out, asking me for a little interview here. So I'm pumped to do this.
Interacted is a fun word to use. When I basically had to message you and ask if the hounds could be called off after I said that you guys were bad at Overload. I think we've repaired a couple of bridges since then. I think the fan base are a little bit more on side.
I mean, they're still dog shit at Overload. Also, Chad, by the way, I got the goat water, Poland Spring. We got, with remains of my Dunkin' Iced coffee. We're going to kill that here shortly. Slowly.
But, I mean, you've got an incredible bunch over there. Were you expecting, like, them to be so passionate, like, heading into COD, as they have been this year?
You know, it was pretty weird, man. Like, we started originally and we were just doing tryouts to, like, sometimes we would have like 40 people watching us in the very beginning, like 7 months ago. And we thought like, we're going to give it a shot. It probably won't be great. Not enough people are into Call of Duty. Our fan base at Barstool, they might not be into it as much. And then I just really don't know. I still to this day, I'm trying to figure out, like 7 months later, how we took that jump. And it's like, I don't even know how it happened, what sparked it, but like we went from, 40 people watching me, Sass, and Mook live streaming tryouts to then having episodes do 90K on YouTube. It's just insane in 7 months.
Yeah, it's been like, I think that's like been what's crazy to me is that like I knew when you guys were coming into the space, I was like, okay, like it's Barstool, man. Like you guys got fans. There's a nice little Venn diagram, right? Of like, okay, probably people who love sports, people who love COD. All right, cool. Yeah, you got some clout, but I'm right there with you. I don't think anybody expected it to be just this wave that's been.
Yeah, I mean, that's really been their issue since the start of the game, James, is that, I think, and I don't know if to get into it in this pod, that's why I really like the Cammy pickup for this team, and they talked about it a bit on the owners meeting and the last one before that. Like, they understand now that we're getting to the point of the year where progression is very important. They had a very good high school team at the beginning of the year. They lost a couple of guys to the league, but they gotta they gotta buckle down and progress because there's only one spot available in NA. And it'd be a supreme disappointment for these guys if they are not playing in the program, guys. They would be super disappointed if they can't pull that off. So I think for the Bush guys are locking in on that.
Behind you guys, that's there, and it's been really cool kind of watching that. I actually had a question for you about what's it been like for you kind of from the start, like you said 7 months ago to here, because I think you said you started out with tryouts and now Dallas Major won. You're throwing a choke up against Rock across the stage, right? Like, did you foresee you like getting to that point when you started this whole thing?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit in the beginning. Like, we were very reserved early on in the beginning. Like, we kind of didn't interact with our players much. We listened to like everything they said, all their suggestions. We didn't really know what was going on. Still to this day, we struggle a little bit about certain things when it comes to challengers and FaZe and all that kind of stuff. But no, I really didn't envision it like that.
And we talked about this a bunch, and like we've talked about on the stream that was going to be the big thing for them as they progress through this year is like executive level information flow and decision making, right? How do they build a front office between their coach and Jason GM and the players where the flow of information comes in to Jerry, to Mook, to Sass, to Austin? And how do they know how to filter that information? Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's obviously a process that's really difficult to learn. And I'm glad that they're, I'm sure Jerry gets to know a bit more, but was always going to be an area of progression and learning throughout the year.
I came into this being like, hey, we'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. Might be dead in a month when we don't have enough fans watching. But hey, it's a cool experience. All three of us love Call of Duty. We'll see where we could take it. And then just like that second or third month,
no,
it
not
was
a green
like,
screen, Harry.
Okay, fuck
it's
it.
a
Now
very
we're
real
going.
background.
Now we're gonna go.
Very real background,
like,
Harry.
I guess two things kind of follow up there. Like, first of all, I've seen you like you getting around the pit and everyone like wanting to say hello to Jersey Jerry. Were you always a celebrity? Like, what's the situation now? How's that feel for you getting all the pictures and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I was I'm not gonna say I'm a celebrity or anything, but like I have a strong following on Twitter and Instagram. Really grateful to my start. I had a great start.
Sorry to hear that.
One of YouTube's golf's biggest stars in Bobby Berger and Bob Does Sports.
Fuzzy, are you downstream from like? Are you like? Do you might have to get are you in a position where you might have to get fucking evacuated? Hopefully not.
Came early on. I say, man, what was that? 20 2020, maybe 2019,
There's no way
somewhere around
Dylan- there's
there.
no way Dylan
I
said
kind of
that.
started social media, just kind
There's
of
no
like
way
an
Dylan said
accident, I'd
that.
say. I was a union pipe fitter working underground
Hell yeah.
and making funny videos. And this guy, Bobby, found me. And I used to call New York radio and stuff like that, talk about sports. He
Fucking
found
Bob
me
does sports.
and kind of turned me into this content, character. And then Barstool down the line picked me up. And I've been with Barstool ever since. And they've also...
Jerry's actually talked about before how he got into Bob Does Sports and how he wasn't then involved with Bob Does Sports. It's a very interesting story for another time. But there's low-key, like, it ended up being Barstool lore because essentially there is someone who is also not a Barstool personality. There is someone that's famous, but they end up kind of in the Barstool world, and Jerry has low-key beef with them. It's a very funny story. I think I told on... it wasn't on PMT. I forget what show it started on where the lore got fucking dropped. This is like a year and a half ago.
Giving me a massive platform.
But it's very funny.
To just express
no
myself
idea.
naturally, and really grateful to them. But yeah, I don't know about a celebrity, but whoa, what the fuck just happened?
What?
Well, are you?
Oh my God.
Rules where the lights, if you don't move, they shut off.
Oh yeah. Hold on a second.
Jerry just entered the upside down or something. Like we lost him. He's back.
Oh.
It's all right.
No, I'm in one of those rooms.
Like a pod. Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those like Zoom rooms.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Oh,
glad
I
to
see,
see that
because the
you're
camera moved. Okay.
I guess,
Not in my family's
kind of where I
house.
wanted to go off the previous question, other than asking him about being a celebrity and stuff, is when you came into it, and I guess kind of we brought up there like maybe like paving the way a lot in challenges. Like, was that your intention initially? Because you said like 90K on YouTube. Like, were you always like, okay, we're gonna make a vlog, we're gonna do that, or have you kind of gone, oh well, everyone's kind of enjoying this, why don't we just see where it goes?
Yeah, it's kind of the second part you said, like everybody was enjoying it. We'll see where it takes us. We know going into it though, we were going to be a content first org. That was the goal from the beginning. Like, hey, we've seen over the years Optic, what they've built, FaZe, what they've built, Gentlemates, as well. And it's like, okay,
Appreciate it, young dog. Appreciate it.
they laid out the business plan for us. This is how you run things, kind of. This is what you can do for content. And we kind of piggybacked off of those ideas, and we just knew like, hey, we're three, interesting, funny guys as well. Why?
I think Barstool thought it would be successful. I mean, the thing is, it's not like Barstool's launched so many big IP shows, characters over the years. Like, they have a very like deep bag of like success in that area. They've also got a lot of shows that just haven't panned out. So like they have a process they go through about how they incubate these content pieces and shows. So it's funny, kind of like the flow of it, Why
can't we do it, And once we realized like that initial pop, that's when we were like, okay, let's do more. Yeah. We could do more, And Austin came in to the fold, and he's been a big help for us as well. Talking to us about different content ideas, what he thinks would work, what he thinks wouldn't work. So it's just a daily grind of just trying to just be better every single day.
It's been dope to see like how you basically took that like exactly that same Barstool sauce and then just like applied it to challengers, where it's like, hey, there's like some level of corporate here, but also we're three idiots just recording everything. Right. And it just feels like that just like is a perfect storm for Call of Duty. Right. Because that's like our entire scene has just been like reactionary. Right. People standing up, yelling at each other online. And it's just like that. It just feels so natural of a fit, like when it all kind of came together.
Oh, yeah, dude. And what's crazy?
It's a good
speaking
point.
About the pit and
good
whatnot.
Point, Dandro.
Like, I haven't been nervous a lot of times in my life. You know what I mean? Like, nervous to the point where like my heart was like racing. I could feel the blood like traveling throughout my body. I like, you know what I mean? And it was like my heart was pumping. I was like sweating, and like that was such an amazing experience and incredible feeling that I love so much. And like I just want to do more of it. And I feel like, I'm not saying Call of Duty is dead and whatnot, but like we need more of that stuff, man. We need more passion in Call of Duty. You know, guys screaming at each other, you know, getting personal, talking shit. I'm not saying they got to fight everybody or hate everybody they come across, but I would love to see some more rivalries and, you know, teams not like each other and
I think this has really improved in the last few years in the league. Obviously, Challengers has always been a pit of passion, but I think the CDL the first couple of years really didn't want to go in this territory. And I'm going to be honest, until, you know, kind of my last few years at EE, until ESL FaZe took it over, that's when I think people at the league are more receptive to, like, embrace the drama, embrace the storylines. And, you know, in the last couple of years, one thing they've done, which I really like, is the stage designs are now really incentivizing people to get up and yap. And I think we're really leaning into the edge that this esports has. You know, there's a layer of professionalism, but there's also a layer of emotion and aggression and shit talk. And I love that the Bush guys have come in and they've just been throwing haymakers at everybody. Like the league, other teams, players, Eric Boom. You know what I'm saying? Like they've been going at everybody. They obviously bring up a very drama-filled point about Carolina here. Towards the beginning of this, you'll see them talk about it, but yeah, I tipped the strategy out of Jerry and the boys.
shit talk. You know what I mean? It makes for a better product.
Yeah, 100%.
No, it definitely does. I know that when we got to cast over you guys in the open one, and you were doing the choke and everything else, like I know that everybody loved it. It wasn't just necessarily the Bush fans and all that. It takes us back almost in Call of Duty. It takes us back to harkens back to the days of like the opens and where it used to be like basically hundreds of teams would rock up to the same boat, hope to play on the stage with the pros. And I guess building on kind of like, you know, you felt that blood rushing through and everything else. What has been like the most surprising thing to you through this whole journey of challenges, whether it be something on the front end or maybe something behind the scenes?
Ooh, man, this is a good question. You know, something I really didn't expect was
That's funny, Turtle. Appreciate it.
for our team.
Turtle, the Crybaby Cheese League is funny. The CBCL. We'll talk about that, I think, a bit more on. I think Namel's gonna have a lot to say on the podcast about this situation with Utopia, but I appreciate, or not Utopia, sorry, with the Clifftown, but I appreciate the 28 months. And I think you make a good point. And this is the thing that was always critical about Bush. Is that they could actually, the same with the Gentlemaids and Falcons to an extent, they can do audience conversion, right? They're not coming in and trying to build a new brand and like not coming in with a built-in audience. Yes, Bush is trying to do a little bit of that, but they also have this audience conversion kind of thing they can do. There's a lot of passionate male adults who, you know, are in their late 20s. Oh, well, actually, Barcelona audience is even younger. And Barcelona, you know, covers everything from people in their teens to people in like their 30s. But like a lot of, you know, males in that category, and, you know, obviously they have some other female audience with some of their other shows. I don't know if it really applies a lot to the Bush, but they can convert a lot of that audience to this and get them kind of involved. So it's been fun to watch the journey, and obviously interacting with the guys in the Bush, or they're, you know, they're fun to, you know, have fun with. So yeah.
Our roster of 4 guys, you know, whether prior to Spartan, Cap leaving, and then Cap coming back, but just us being super competitive.
By the way, if I'm like getting visibly sweaty, just know, like, because I turned this light on and it's getting hotter outside, like, they have to come back and fix the AC today. I'm praying it happens like early this afternoon, because bro, it was bad on the flank last night. I was like, Pow was pissing me off, and I was like actually dripping sweat on that show. It was actually the worst.
In every single tournament,
it was the worst, bro.
We're a part of. I didn't really expect that. Like, we wanted to be content first and whatnot. And at the same time, yes, we did want to win. We still want to win at all costs. But I was very surprised to see
I have a fan
at every single level.
Let me turn it more towards me, though.
Us being super, super competitive every single tournament. I thought Major 2 was a flop, in my opinion. You know, we weren't happy about that. The top 8, that was pretty unacceptable. Yeah. But other than that, I feel like we've really excelled. And there were some instances along the way with, like, you know, people clashing on the roster and whatnot, and you got to figure out how to handle those type of things. We had our first, you know, intro to that with, you know, Cap originally and whatnot. But, you know, he turned it around, was locked in for Major 1, and even after that, and he came back this time around and he's fucking locked back in again. But yeah, I would say that, like, us being super competitive every step of the way. I was very surprised at that.
Yeah, this Jerry. Well, I mean, Jerry does a lot of media. You know what I'm saying? And now, what I like about this interview is like it's a different version of Jerry. You know, Nick, we'll get to that because I had some thoughts yesterday, and apparently I'm an idiot. So I don't know if maybe everybody else doesn't live in reality, and I feel like I'm just going insane. I don't know, but I kind of, again, I think what's really interesting to watch the Bush this year is them learning all the lessons of team management, because none of these guys have ever really been in something like that. And challengers, listen, there's a lot of shit that goes down. So
it's like, it was like, I think when I watched that roster form, your first initial one, it was so interesting because I was like, this team is going to be gross. Like, you know, I think everybody was like, no, it wouldn't have been a surprise for us to be like, oh, that team's going to do really well. I actually had the flip side where I was like, how, like, you guys are content first, and you have some people who are just like not content players. Like,
yes.
These are like, they're not, who are not traditionally known as content people. But it was also cool to see them then kind of morph into that and then kind of be a little bit more content driven. It feels like, right? That's there.
Yes.
But how hard is it though, where you build up this relationship with these players, and now all of a sudden, like, oh, sorry, we're too good. Now you got to go to the big leagues, and now we're scrambling here. Like, how hard is it to build that relationship just to have it kind of get blown up and sometimes over $2,000?
Yeah.
No, Surge Pay teaches buyout.
Exactly.
Surge Pay teaches buyout. They try to negotiate down. Carolina, and they'll get into the video, basically told Bush that, like, on no certain terms, that, like, they would pay a buyout for Fire. So they're making Fire pay the buyout. I don't know what it is. I assume it's only a couple $1,000s. And I said on the show last night that I was like, honestly, bro, like, if it were me running the Bush, I would just say, like, to Fire, just forget about it. Like, we'll figure it out. If we need to, like, internally between us as the co-owners, like, raise money to cover the difference on it, like, we should do that instead of making Lou actually pay his own fucking buyout. Apparently I'm an idiot for saying that. Apparently everybody thinks I'm stupid for that thought process. Apparently Zinni doesn't agree, and Jace was in the chat and didn't agree. And it's really Raven's fault, to be honest, not Bush's fault. I just want to be clear about that. But if it were me, after Ravens being complete fucking assholes, I would be like, look, I don't want to pin this on Lou. I want to get Fire in the league, and, you know, let's just be bygones, And if fucking, you know, Andrew and you know, if all the people at Barstool are like, well, we still need to make up the couple $1,000, well, we'll do a subathon or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll raise money elsewhere. In my personal thing, like, I would just don't think, you know, I don't think I'd make Lou pay it.
Yeah, you know, it's been a wild ride, man. It has. I felt like, you know, Major One.
Just so you know, Titan, I'm going to be honest. This has always been an issue in the CDL. It's always been a thing. The top teams will pay a buyout. They're not assholes. The problem is your Carolinas of the world have always acted like this. It's been like this since day zero of the league. They've always been pricks. So, like, you know what I'm saying? I personally just think, like, Zinni's argument that it sets a bad precedent is ridiculous. Like, I don't think it's going to make an iota of a difference with any future teams. And I think, if anything, it's just the right thing to do. And again, if fucking Dave Portnoy comes to the boys and say, well, you guys were $2,000 short in revenue this fucking split, I'm just like, well, you know, let's just do a fucking subathon or some shit. I don't know.
We got super close with Spark. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
like they can make content out of it. You know what I'm saying? That was my thought process.
You know, his
with it.
family as well.
But apparently I'm an idiot.
You know,
I don't
late
know.
night talks on Discord and whatnot, vibing together, gaming together. And for him to, you know, go after that was super tough for us. He was surprisingly, I didn't expect it either. He was a great on-camera personality.
Yeah.
Really was. Showed a lot of emotion, was real, was authentic. But yeah, dude, it is very, very tough because you get so close to these guys, and you know, it's weird because you only spend a couple days in a row in person with them.
Yeah.
But you're up late at night. You're breaking bread. You're having dinners. You're doing everything together.
I disagree. I think Zen is. I just think that's a shitty way. Personally, I wouldn't do business like that. I get why it happens, but if I were the owner, I'd be like, bro, we can figure out how to make a gap of a couple of $1,000. If it was like 10 grand, 15 grand, it gets a bit more of an interesting conversation about how do you deal with that gap. But if it's a couple of G's and you're an entity like Bushar where they could find a way to make that revenue over the course of a weekend if they really want to put their mind to it, I'm just like, let's not make poor Fire take his prize earnings and have to pay his own. Like, I just find that, I don't know. It's not how I do it. And so I understand all the perspective on it. It's just not how I would conduct my business. And it sucks that they're, again, being put in this position because of fucking shitty Carolina Royal Ravens, bro. Like,
for
it's
those
really Carolina's
days,
fault,
right?
to be honest.
So you get to know them.
You
You,
really
get
wanna
to
get
ask
to
them
the root of
questions
it.
about, hey, fuck Call of Duty. Talk to me about your personal life. What's your family like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got any brothers and sisters and
Appreciate it,
whatnot?
Peanut.
What do you do for fun besides Call of Duty? Most of them say Call of Duty. So, but
Yeah.
but it's been difficult when those guys, you know, are a part of the Bush and then they go on, like Lou, for example. Like
Yeah.
Lou
Yeah.
just went to the Ravens, right? And I'm not saying it was because of Bush, because Lou played his ass off. He really did.
1.2
But
Lou.
I will say this: we were an org that pushed him. You know, especially when it came to, like, you know, content stuff, being on camera, you know, tweeting more, going live for scrims, you know, putting your face out there, and like, you know, obviously the play has to align with all those things. But like, we were giving him good gas for months, and then finally it pays off, right? So like, it's gonna be tough, obviously. You know, now that Lou's gone and we love him, we miss him already. He's still in the team speak, right? He's still chopping it up with all of us and whatnot in the group chats. So yeah, dude, it's difficult, but at the end of the day, that's our goal as an org, right?
Yeah.
We want to be an org.
I agree
that,
with you. The league
hey,
needs,
maybe
I think the league, I'll say this so people know, for a number of reasons, which I think eventually we get to the bottom with Daniel. The league doesn't have as much oversight over the contracts as they did in the beginning of the CDL. I have some theories as to why they've done that, and they're theoretically good reasons. The problem and the downside is that then they don't really have oversight when, you know, Carolina does shit like this. Like, it's just not in their purview to really be able to do anything about it. So it just sucks. I mean, candidly, no disrespect, like, Carolina should have enough discretionary money in their budget to spend $2,000, $5,000, whatever it is, on a fucking buyout for a player. Like, that is ridiculous. Okay. Well, why are they in this league if they can't find a couple of $1,000s to, you know, pay the buyout for someone? Like, that's just bad planning. That's bad planning around the team. You should know that you're a mid-pack to low-pack team and you're going to make changes. Why are we not saving a contingency of 10 or 15% of our budget so that we know that we can account for that in the future? It just seems like bad planning and just fucking, like, just poor management out of Carolina. And they're, again, it cascades towards Lou having to pay his own buyout and the fucking Bush guys being put in this position. Like, it sucks.
player has gotten no chances in the CDL, or maybe a player was in the CDL one time and hasn't been in for 5 years, or like Byron and like Lou, you know what I mean? Or a guy like Cap, right, who's been in a billion times, is in and out. But hey, you're gonna come back to us. You still got a home here, right? We're gonna push you and push you and push you so you can get back eventually, you know. So that's just what we love doing right now, man. You know, we're a big family here in the Bush.
Love that.
Well, to touch on the family thing, because this is
point.
something that Lou tweeted as well. He said, you know, you guys were basically his family. And it's amazing to hear what you're talking about there, where you're at the opens together, breaking bread and all that kind of
Titan,
stuff. It's clear to see.
How do you propose they do that? You understand in the franchise leagues, like, there's a sort of how it works. Like, other owners don't want to push out other owners. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at the NFL with Dan Snyder and how long it took. Like, that was as much of a pressure campaign as you can see to push out an ownership group, right? Like the Donald Sterling thing with the NBA. I mean, that was just, he was in an even more untenable situation. It took them essentially sending evidence to the DOJ to get the government involved to get Dan Snyder out. It's like, I just think the way that probably the TPA is written and the way the Activision wants to conduct themselves, which is be risk adverse and not make headlines, like, they just don't want to push an ownership group out. Like, it just, for a number of political or actual legal reasons, like, they don't want to do it, you know? So it just sucks because I can't, and it's no disrespect. I know there's great people that work for Vancouver and for Carolina, but bro, their orgs are just an absolute drag on the league. And we can get better ownership groups in that will invest in the challengers, invest in the players, run events, do better marketing, make better skins. Like, you know, it just fucking sucks.
I how someone like yourself and the rest of the fellas
I mean, you could
generate
do that, Gav.
relationship
I mean, that's
with people in person and
certainly
your
an
players.
option.
But I would argue that actually the wider Bush support feels like a family. Very much so in the sense if you kick them once, they all come running at you. But it's also a case of, you know, it just, I don't know, it feels like this unit, this armada of people that are all celebrating this one cause. How have you managed to build that relationship with people that you're not in person with people that are over the internet and so on?
Yeah, dude, that's a great question. You know, for us, it's like they've been such, they're a bigger part of this than people even realize, right? I have people who have been in there since day one of tryouts, right, that are watching the Bush still to this day. Excuse me, but I think what it is they are a part of the story, right? Like they've been here since day one, right? And it's only getting bigger, and people are coming along for the storyline, and it's just like we have everything out in the open, right? We're not trying to hide anything. This is how our org is ran. You know, obviously we're going to make mistakes along the way. We're going to have some fuck ups, right? But the audience loves it. They love when we fuck up, but they also love when we celebrate milestones like getting our first sponsor. You know what I mean? So like they feel a part of the story. They've helped us with get to Major 1. They've helped us with
other teams have done it in the past, so they're not the only one that's ever done it. Teams have actually been doing it since year 2 of the league. It just comes down to, you know, those skins have to be submitted quite a far in advance. And is that inventory that we want to give to a brand? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the value of that item, and is our sponsor willing to pay for it? Like, it really kind of depends, but we've seen other teams do it in the past. I just think they're the only ones that's doing it right now.
Major 2, you know what I mean? They're going to help us Major 3. Whether that's buying merch, subbing on YouTube, commenting, liking, you know, subscribing on Twitch, all those things, donations, you know, so like they've been a huge part of this story. And I think that's the big thing, right? They're along for this journey with us. Yep. And I think their end goal aligns with our end goal. And then that's one day to eventually be an org in the CDL and be taken like super seriously and be super successful there.
Well, I think you guys, like you said, like you kind of took a page, I feel like, out of Hex's book, where it's like you're one of the few people who you get a look into what it's like to actually run a challengers team, right? Because I think probably before you, maybe Rafi was the only person who would kind of maybe shed some light here and there, right? But now, like with a lot of the owners meetings and the vlogs and like all of these things, I think that's why people are just so like attached to it, because they've been here with you literally the entire way. Like they've seen the growth, and they've seen you go, like you said, from those 40 viewer streams to now I pop open challengers and you guys, you know, are rocking just as much as the main broadcast sometimes, if not more. And it's just to watch the Bush, right? Not even the whole challenger scene. So it's just, you know, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's the journey, dude, has been amazing. But you know, the bigger you get, obviously, the more haters you get as well. So you'll always have those people. You know, listen, our first time also with Major 2, right? We haven't had a scenario. Obviously, we only been to one major prior to Major 2.
I don't think he meant it that way.
It has been,
you know, are rocking just as much as the viewer streams way. Like they've seen the growth, and they've seen things and the vlogs and like all of these things. I think that's why people are just so like attached to it, because they've been here with you literally the entire way. Like they've seen those, and you guys, you know, are rocking just as much as the main broadcast sometimes, if not more. And it's just to watch the Bush, right? Not even the whole challenger scene. So it's
because Pat can never be wrong, Dan. Pat can never be wrong. And like, I know sometimes he's playing a little bit of a character, but like, I think genuinely sometimes he just like can't be wrong in an argument, and he's just willing to just say ridiculous shit because he literally can never be wrong. I would love to know what he's like in an actual like work setting, if he actually like gets to this level. But like yesterday, like I don't know how he can sit back and say the things he says about the fact that the process is so broken. Lack with the 84 viewers, appreciate it, Lack. Thank you so much for the W raid. That's my guy right there. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you for the raid. W fucking raid. But like I just can't understand why Pat, like, bro, like he agrees this shit is broken, but like we don't want to change it. Like what in like the weird, like I don't know, bro. Like the mental logic. And then what happens when Pat is wrong? Now the funniest part about Pat is that when he knows he's run out of different talking points, is then he starts either using fallacies or using like third grade debating tactics. And then I just sit there and acknowledge that. And then he gets really salty. And then what he does is he can never let you talk. So his that next strategy, once he knows he's wrong, is to just filibuster and not let the other person talk and just dominate the airwaves. So anyway, sometimes arguing with Pat is like, you know, it's tough, bro. It's real tough. What's good, Phenom? What's good, guy?
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's the journey, dude, has been amazing. But you know, the bigger you get, obviously, the more haters you get as well. So you'll always have those people. You know, listen, our first time also with Major 2, right? We haven't had a scenario. Obviously, we only been to one major prior to Major 2. That was Major 1 in Dallas. We were in grand finals. We got our ass kicked there, right? So like now we go to Major 2 and we get top 8. And the fan base felt like they just turned.
I don't know about that.
We were like on stream, like me, Sass, and Mook, and we were like texting each other during the stream, like, holy shit, we never seen our fan base like this, bro. They like turned on us. And like it was weird, but in a way, like it hurt them just as much as it hurt us. You know what I mean? So like that's what we have to understand, you know? Like, hey, it hurts them just as much. Like this is like their team as well. You know, we have to understand that. So that's what we know. We're learning that. You know, we're adapting to that.
Talk to me about what, Dylan?
Dude, the fans have been nothing short of amazing, dude.
Talk to me about what, Dylan?
I don't know. It's incredible to hear not only everything that goes on, and like obviously myself and Dan are fully aware of a lot of the support that you guys get, but also hearing it from that end of things and how it's affected you guys. And how you're like, okay, we understand that you cut them and they'll bleed bush. That's kind of how it feels with a lot of them, which is amazing. I think it's a testament to everything that you guys have done, that you have that loyalty, that passion behind you guys. Something that you brought up while you were talking there about how your fan base have helped you.
I'm trying to make this video, so you got 5 minutes done. I'm joining TeamSpeak. Join TeamSpeak. Let's see what Dylan's gonna say. No, I'm not fucking updating TeamSpeak, bro. Fuck off.
Connected. User entered your channel. Channel switched. User joined your channel. Switched. User was
what's up, Dylan? Talk to me. What's good, go? What's up?
Okay, so I think maybe tomorrow or sometime this weekend, I think I want to put some picks in, Ben.
You want to get into PrizePicks?
I think I want to put some picks in, Ben. Like I need to spice the matches up because they just get some matches are good, but then like especially this time of year, the burgers start playing the burgers, and I'm like, damn, like it's just boring as fuck. Like I need something to make me feel some kind of emotion, to feel like I'm invested in the game.
Yep. So how do you want me to help you with that?
Well, I'm just gonna go around and hear everyone, because you have a partnership with a company, right?
Yes, PrizePicks. Use code BENJ. Play 5, get 50 instantly. Use code BENJ.
But why should I use your PrizePick code over? I don't know who else has one, but why should I use yours, Benja? Can you just pitch me of why I should be using yours?
I think
like,
PrizePicks,
you have good picks. What's good about the BENJ code?
I think PrizePicks got a lot of great features. I think their mobile app's like really well designed. They do a really good job of getting squares up pretty early in the week and also maintaining them throughout the series you want to like pick live. They've had a lot of features where you can now combination players from the same team in a slip. And you can pick a bunch of different markets. So I just like their set, and I think the squares they offer are pretty competitive. They're not pretty cheese. And that's why I like partnering with them. They're great partners, and they're always down to hear feedback. I always tell people like with PrizePicks, if people want to see different markets, like new shit, just let me know.
But what about your code? Like, why am I using BENJ? Like,
why would you give?
Why do I want to use your code?
Who else's code are you going to use?
I don't know. I'm going around just trying to hear different pitches. I don't know.
Okay, well, who else are you talking to?
You're my first client.
Well, who else are you planning on talking to? Well, how am I your client?
Maybe the wrong terminology there, but I don't know who else has codes. Zuma probably has a code. I don't know who else.
With picks, I think the Optic guys and Tom, but you know.
Oh yeah, I'm actually probably just gonna use Optics code.
But I think you should support smaller streamers, aka me. But you know, it's all good though.
No, I want the rich to get richer. Why would I want to support smaller streamers?
All right, fair enough. Optic.
But why should I use yours? Why should I use yours, Ben? They like sell me. Like I want to use yours. Why? But why should I? Yeah.
Because it's a great code. You can follow me on the social feature on the app. That way you can see my great picks that I'm going to place. We're going to start working with the model of building around picks that's going to be rolling out this weekend and next week. And yeah, I mean, it's a good code to use. It's easy, simple to type. Only 4 letters. You don't got to type the whole thing. Like it's easy to remember.
It's just BENJ?
Yeah.
BENJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, like, do I get any kickback for using your code? Or, like, how do I benefit off using your particular code, BenJ?
You're trying to get me to bribe you to use the code?
If you want.
No, I'm not going to do that. If you use a code, great. If you don't want to use a code, that's up to you, bro. I'm not giving you a cut. I'm not like, we're not committing some like bullshit here where like you get to use it and get a cut. Like, bro, what? If you use a code, you're getting free. You're getting free money anyway. You play 5, you get 50. Though you're already getting free cash on the house for using the code.
Wait, so if I play $5, I get $50?
Yeah, all you got to do is deposit 5, play the 5, and then you get 50 in what's called the bonus credit. So you can use that bonus credit on whatever you want. You can use it on COD. You can use it on the NFL when it's live. Obviously, you got NHL and NBA playoffs coming up.
This is COD only, Benji. I'm a COD only type of guy.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be doing a lot of promos over the next couple of weeks for the playoffs and stuff like that. So, and yeah, that's why I like PrizePicks. So,
this is going to be my first time doing it when I do it.
Well, if you want tips, let me know. I can tell you kind of, this is an interesting time to get into it.
Good.
Yeah, it's a good, interesting time to get in just because we've added a bunch of new maps. So, like, if you kind of know, I will say, like, if you know kind of early, kind of how pace these maps, how long they go, how many interactions, you might be able to get like an early edge and make some, you know, some good coin before the books really like catch up. So it's a good time to get in because there's opportunity this weekend.
Okay, I like that. So, maybe I will just use code BENJ. I could do that in Texas, right? It's illegal
correct.
Or illegal?
And in Texas, if you're in Texas, there's also the team picks feature. So there's a player feature. The team picks, you can literally just pick teams straight up to win.
Oh, like it's just 1-to-1, or do I have to pick like multiple teams? Like, do I have to put like pick 3 matches, like all the matches? Or just like I can pick one match at a time?
Last I checked, I don't think maybe someone in chat knows. I don't think they're doing combos. It's just like straight up one match, and offers you X on either side. So, and then you just kind of pick it. So it's more in the prediction market. It's only available in certain states. So if you're not sure, there's a page on the PrizePicks site that will tell you what states certain games are available in. So.
BenJ, it's been a pleasure. That's a great pitch. I'll definitely bring this back to my team, think about it, and hopefully maybe we'll use your code. I
appreciate it. If you need more help, though, I'm always here for you, brother.
Absolutely, BenJ. You have a good one, okay?
You too, go.
Microphone muted. User disconnected.
There's no way Dill is trying to bribe me to give him like, bro, he's already getting 50 if he uses my code. He wanted more coin. Like, brother, what? I love Dill, but like, bro, that's an insane ask. What's good, Mr. Justin Possession?
Too many things. Let's kind of go back to the sponsorship, the Kraken sponsorship. One of the first big ones that I think I've seen in challenges. Incredible feat. I remember you guys were speaking about it in one of your previous videos about that's kind of where you want to get to.
I think we talked about it in the last CoDCast. So
obviously, I'm imagining there's limits to the details you can give, but how did that come about? And is that a season-long thing, or is that a split-long thing?
It's like a crypto thing, Apple.
So right now, so pretty much how it came about was like Kraken, and I don't know how much you know about Dave Portnoy, the owner of Barstool Sports, but like he does a lot of like this Davey day trader stuff where he'll trade stocks and talk about stocks and whatnot. And Dave was in crypto as well. And then Kraken came along and invested in like Barstool Sports and Dave. They sponsored a couple different shows here. They sponsored Dave, Barstool as a whole pretty much. And it was tough for us to get a sponsor early on just because I felt like Barstool was never in this space, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, they've tried to do some gaming things and whatnot that went good, but not great, you know, and eventually like fizzled out and whatnot. But I feel like they finally understood, like the sales team understood. Austin got it.
Yeah.
Dave understood it. And now it's easier for them to sell to sponsors like, hey, this is what they do. These are their streams. This is their team. This is the org. You'll have Behind the Bush. You'll have watch parties. You'll have Mook, Sass, and Jerry streaming separately. You'll have so much content.
I mean, I already have picks on Speed today, bro. We already have picks on Speed today. We have him under 69 and Goddard 69.5, which it's a parse 71, right? So Goddard's already kind of on pace there. And Spieth is Spieth. I mean, listen, I picked 3 guys that really have like course history. Well, Goddard, I don't think has much course history, but Goddard's been good. But Spieth and Cantlay have done pretty good historically on this course, so that's why I want them in that 3 pick.
The vlogs and whatnot, so it was easy for them to understand it. Actually, one of the guys is a big gamer as well, so that helped out.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that was a big help. But yeah, I'm almost positive they are the presenting sponsor for the rest of the year, I would assume.
Hell
That's what I've heard,
Incredible.
Obviously, like me, Sats, and Mook, we don't know details. They would never tell us details on like prices and whatnot. They'll keep that to themselves. But
Gonna get a
they came
raise?
up with a-
Like, I gotta get what's going on with that?
yeah, man. But dude, super grateful for them. And I think that's the first of many, to be honest with you. I think that's the first of many.
I've watched this
we try to
tournament a
go
lot.
above
I really
and
like this.
beyond for anybody.
Listen, I've watched this tournament. I watched this tournament a lot. They just did some reno on it, so I haven't really read up too much on like the reno on it, but it's a really interesting. It's a good change of pace after the Masters because it's like it's not a Bomber's Paradise course. It's very much target golf. There's a lot of bunkers. There's a lot of pine straw if you miss the fairways because the rough's not that penal, but you get blocked out by like these overhanging tree branches, and it's the second smallest greens on the PGA Tour. So like accuracy on approach is really key because there are bogeys out there if you miss the fairway, or sorry, if you miss the greens. But the par fives are really gettable, and some of the par three pins that they put on the weekend are very dangerous. I really do like the RBC, and it has usually good finishes. So
that is going to sponsor the Bush. I know Lucy helped out with Major 2 getting us there. They put up a good chunk of money. They put up, it's public knowledge. They put up $15,000 for us to get there. We promoted them the whole weekend there. But yeah, dude, sponsors. I think that's the first of many. I really do.
Well, it's kind of fun to see that because it was interesting because there was like obviously that owners meeting where it comes out where Austin's like, you guys have no idea what you're doing. Like, we need to do way more if you're going to try and land a sponsorship. You immediately hit the stream and you're cold calling. What was it? Your old cleaner to try and sponsor the Bush?
My mom's cleaner. Yeah, she has a business,
Okay.
Oh man.
Oh, you're making moves, but it was cool to watch that happen. Where it's like it was literally.
What did you link beat up?
Felt like there was a line in the sand, and all of a sudden you just watch this content
like the breakdown
already when we were seeing more.
The breakdown of the Reno?
So much already come out of the Bush. So I'm not surprised to see Kraken want to come on, but now that you got one, maybe the
breakdown of Reno. Oh, they changed a lot. Oh, they moved the tee closer to the try and actually. There's a world of bro. 18 is the world's wide. This is gotta be the hardest fairway to miss on the PGA Tour. If you miss this fairway, brother, if you can't hit this fairway on the PGA Tour, like I don't know what to say. This is the world's widest fucking fairway of all time. Like they're saying, but the approach is actually pretty hard because there's marsh that comes in short left, and sometimes they put the pin on the front of this green, and guys like go for it, and it's But anyway.
second one's a little bit easier. Who's maybe a dream sponsor for the Bush? Maybe like a Gillette, maybe a Dollar Shave Club.
What are you saying? I need a shave or something?
I'm just saying. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe that'd be a bad sponsor. You're supposed to be unshaven, so I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, St. Andrews is definitely water, but
I don't know, man. Obviously, we would love to have somebody that's in the space.
What do you think about the Pro G in Clifftown? I think they're a bunch of fucking pussies. I think that some of the stuff that was said yesterday in the Twitch chat was hella disrespectful by some pros. I think they continuously misrepresent the truth of what happens with their communication with the league. I think they spread half truths. I think they just act in a very immature way about it. And I think it's super disrespectful to, I know people at the CDL, specifically Spencer, that like work hard to have like good communication, and these pros continuously like lie about it. I'm telling you straight up, just what they're saying is just patently just untrue. And I have said before, and I said it on the show yesterday, I think if you saw the contents of that DM and what was said and how often Spencer communicates and what he says and the lack of response back, you would understand the position of where the league is at and how wrong these pros are. And they just need to grow the fuck up, respectfully.
Controllers, PCs, monitors, a company that's there already that spends a lot of money in CDL.
Yeah.
We would love to have those sponsors as well.
The last thing I'll say on it, and I'll probably say on the show later too, the pros are lucky that the league doesn't take a more adversarial position with regards to the shit that these pros say, because they don't, because they're a public company. And again, the league doesn't want to make headlines over just trivial shit like this. But like, I'm telling you, the amount of misrepresentation that happens in these situations is much higher than you think. And I hope you guys start to think critically that everything a pro says or a team says is sometimes they're telling their side of the story and they're not always being fully fucking true about the situation. A lot of times they're correct. But like, I'm telling you, in this situation, what was being said in the Twitch chat last night was ridiculous by some of the former pros. It was patently ridiculous. Like, I don't know why they're trying to justify their position when, like, you know, it's just patently just fucking wrong.
Hey, like, at the end of the day, we are a gaming org. You know what I mean? So it'd be nice to have one of those type of sponsors, I would say, to back the bush.
Hell yeah.
Honestly, like the idea of some of those coming over again, like just everything that you guys are doing, it's so impressive. Because I mean, I've been watching competitive COD since it basically started. Like, I've been hooked since Black Ops 2. I know, Dan, you've been around for probably as long, a hell of a long time. I don't think I've ever seen someone come in and truly pave a path as quickly as you guys have. You guys clearly put in a hell of a lot of work. I mean, other organizations out there, no doubt, are going to be looking towards you guys and saying, look, these guys have done it. This is incredible. Is there advice that you would put out to those people who are passionate and just want to get into challengers, but want to find a way of being constructive in the space and not just kind of turning up with a team with their jerseys on? What would you say to those people who are looking up to you right now?
Yeah, I would say, listen, at the end of the day, me, Sass, and Mook, like, we've played Call of Duty in the past. We've watched Call of Duty, right? But at the same time, we really didn't know what went into any of this, right?
Yeah.
We just figured, hey, like, we want to be on camera. We want to document this process, right? We want to build an org. And if we can do it, you can do it as well. Like, it's like, yes, there's a lot of work.
You can do it too, phase up.
That gets put into it. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? There's a lot of hours that people don't realize where you're getting Discord calls at 2 a.m. because two guys aren't getting along, right? And you kind of got to figure that out. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But at the same time, you put that camera on, just document the process.
Correct. The pros are patently, I'm sorry, but the way that the pros in this scene act is some of the least mature at any scene. I mean, maybe like a game like Fortnite might rival them just because, you know, those guys are a lot younger. But from everybody involved with this situation this week, and I get it, the map is not the world's best map, but the way these pros have acted and their approach is ridiculous to me. It is. It shows a real lack of maturity and professionalism, and also to my bigger point, which is like not taking a potential competitive advantage over some bullshit thing about a fraternity. Like, I'm sorry, it's just a candidly ridiculous situation. It's farcical. And I just can't understand how my other co-hosts can't see it. Especially because they're older. They're former retired pros, some of them. They have gone through this shit. And the fact that their mindset is just as immature as those guys is pathetic. Honestly, it's absolutely fucking pathetic.
Put your camera on, do a couple of streams, try your best to get an editor to edit some of these videos, right? The path is there. I mean, Optic paved the path. Yeah. Like, it's not that hard. We're taking pretty much their recipe as well. You know what I mean? We're doing a couple different things here and there, but a lot of it is pretty much the same exact recipe. They laid it out. And I don't know if it's just like laziness or people are just shy to do it or what, but just go take a chance. There's nothing.
They're shy. I mean, I think that's a key thing, Jerry. They're just shy
to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is kind of like, it really, right? It's just like kind of business 101, right? It's like, if you have the blueprint, take it, spin it into your own way, and then try and add that type of flavor to it, which you guys have obviously done a fantastic job of managing to do. And now it's like,
I mean, that's fair sample, but that doesn't mean you can't grow up.
I'm like, you guys came in,
and some of these pros need to grow the fuck up.
Challengers, admittedly, people have kind of shit on it, right? For a couple of years, because it's always been this like, it's overlooked and it's not taken serious. And, you know, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. But to see you guys come in as such a force and be able to sort of set that standard and show what's possible when you give a shit is kind of what it feels like, right? Like, here's exactly what's possible. And now, you know, you're landing sponsors.
Guys, what happened with is a couple of pro teams tested it. They didn't like it. We discussed the reasons yesterday why they didn't like it. And everybody just assumed it wasn't going to be in a pool instead of trying it for themselves. And you reap what you sow, because the league decided to go in a different direction. And now suddenly the reaction was to just GA a map in the pool from all these teams, and I don't know if that GA is going to hold. It sounded like from what Sam was saying yesterday, like it sounds like some teams are now thinking about it and being like, this is pandidly fucking ridiculous. Clearly, some of these teams are fucking already checked about playing this map. Fuck that. Let's get good at them and fuck them. Like, you know? So, like, I don't know what to say, bro. I found the whole thing, like, ridiculous. Oh, and I also said, like, if then people get blacklisted for playing the map, it's going to turn into a very funny situation. They had the world's freest complaint to the CDL, and they get the owners involved, and at that point, it's GG's. And this whole fucking GA thing becomes there'll actually be a change to the GA process at that point. That will finally come to a head.
Now we're going to start to see, I think, other orgs maybe start to land some sponsors as
well.
Yeah,
I mean, challenger teams are going to want to play it. I agree, snowball. Major. That's the other element too. We'll talk about it more in the podcast in a bit, guys.
It sucks. Sorry.
I want to try and finish this. We got another.
It just feels
these
like
rooms
like,
suck. I think it's like every
12
20
minutes
or something.
14 minutes.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, we've only been recording for 25. The point really run better, but like, what do you hope to see kind of even just short term in the next year or two within challengers, just being able to see kind of already the upswing here?
You know my position. I try to say on the show, we need temporary restrictions. We need permanent restrictions. We can replace GAs with a better, more structured, doesn't necessarily need the CDL or the studios to back it. It can be a better process that's more transparent and actually like evaluates things on a real like basis. But no, I got told that that's ridiculous, and that the way that they're being done now is fine, which is just insane. The ship is taking on water, and we just hit a fucking iceberg, but you know, it's all cool. We're not sinking into the fucking ocean, I guess, you know?
Sort of year number one, and that you guys were the real catalyst of that.
CoDCast is in 15 minutes.
I feel like the big with it right now is just organizing it, you know?
Yeah, Jam makes a bunch of pussies for that, Callum.
There's a lot of downtime.
Bunch of pussies.
You know, I get like 15, 20 minutes. I get all that stuff, you know, use the bathroom, grab something to eat and whatnot.
Bunch of fucking
like
pussies.
And listen, I know people are like, oh, I got to go to this land to make money and whatnot, you know, stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, this is challengers, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be organized. You know, there's got to be a strict schedule.
It means
you know,
what
the
it
last
means.
thing people want to do is wait around.
Bro, OP gun, OP weapon, OP attachment. Okay? We temporarily restrict the item and we see if the studio will actually do something about it. If they don't, then in 2 weeks or whatever, you evaluate it and it's permanently restricted. Okay? It's not that hard. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you actually, you know, have a real competitive process where we actually allow things to be reintroduced if they're fucking fixed. You know? It's not that complicated. You have an actual professional process instead of a bunch of people being fucking morons in a fucking group TM where half the people don't even reply.
4 hours for their team to play.
Yeah.
You know,
it's definitely
just
a problem.
unnecessary. It's uncalled for. It's like a slap
you.
in the face to the people who are streaming it. You know what I mean?
No,
it's
we're not going to see rate overload.
for all
That's
the
not
people
going to
who
be
are
map.
watching as well. So like, I think a big change needs to be like the timing of these cups. You know, I feel like elites are a little bit better, I would say.
Yep.
But the cups are kind of like a mess right now. The bracket doesn't get updated. Like it gets updated so late. We hate that. Obviously, our fans ask us a million questions. Sometimes we have, and also it's very hard to navigate. As well.
Yeah.
Like the whole page. Like respectfully, it sucks. It really does. I mean, it's just so hard to find information.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big problem. Is like, listen, I think we're in a world today where like you want something, you want it now, right? I want to be able to click a button and everything's laid out for me, right? I don't want to go searching for 15 minutes to try to find something. So like, I think that's a big thing that needs to change, and hopefully it changes. And as far as like challengers goes, I hope we get like an open bracket, man. You know, I really would love that to be able to compete with teams in the CDL. You know, that's how it should be at the end of the day. It really should.
It's been like my thing for a while. Like I'm like it's criminal that there are these CDL teams that don't get to go to a major, or you do get to go to a major and you play one series and you're done. When we have, dude, you take the top 4 challengers teams and they're basically ex-CDL rosters almost, right? And it's like, it would be so much content and just would be great to run a group stage into a bracket and, you know, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah, and I'm not saying.
Wait, what are they talking about?
Or you do get to go to a major and you play one series and you're done. When we have, dude, you take the top 4 challengers teams And they're basically ex-CDL rosters almost, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
it would be so much content and just would be great to run a group.
Yeah, we should have more pro-ams, and we talked about this. I hate the fucking major format. We all hate the major format. I agree. Fucking group stage into a bracket on the weekend would be a fucking W change.
Stage into a bracket, and
we
all of
fixed
this.
something that was already
I'm right there with
working,
you, man.
and made it worse.
Yeah, and I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying we're like overall 100% the best challengers roster. Like, I'm not saying any of this, but like, we just scrimmed 3 CDL teams, right? We rinsed I think 4 actually. We rinsed 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I know it's just scrims, and I know they were using just guns and whatnot, different guns, obviously with the new updates and whatnot and new maps. But like, hey, we held our own. We dominated 3 of those 4 scrims. So it's like, hey, there's teams that can compete with these other teams.
Yep.
And there's also teams in the CDL.
I think that you will see. I know there are discussions, and I don't know if it's going to happen. Like, they're going to like someone in the Frisco thing is going to try that shit that I talked about a month or so ago. It will get tried. I think it just needs enough lead time and planning to go down. But like with all these teams in Frisco, like it will be tried at some point. I think if it doesn't happen this split, it will happen next split. And if not, I'll be disappointed because I think it should at least get tried. Like, there's enough manpower and equipment and workflow between all the teams to like figure it out.
That,
It's
that
very
just
doable.
don't care.
And I know for a fact, by the way, that ESL FaZe and the league are supportive of a team doing that. There are no, as far as I know, there are no like real massive red flags from those entities about doing it. Some workflow things got to be figured out about integrity and a few other things, but like, I don't think it's an impossible task,
At the end of the day, they just flat out just don't care whatsoever. Like for an example, like Carolina, happy that Lou's there, wish him the best, right? They made it a point to tell us, right? Hey, we're not giving you guys a penny, just a heads up. We're not trialing anybody with a buyout. We're not paying a buyout. There's a 0% chance they're getting a buyout. So Lou has a buyout in his contract, right? Yeah. Lou is gonna have to pay that buyout, which he already says, I got no problem.
I already gave you guys my thoughts on this because I already gave my thoughts on this earlier in the video.
I signed the contract, I'm gonna pay that, right? But now Lou's first experience going to an org is, I gotta dish out money out of my pocket to be on this fucking team. That's a slap in the face.
That's not great.
Kind of speechless after that one. Where do we? I mean, because you've negotiated with a couple of different teams now. Obviously, Ravens now added to that list. I mean, I'm gonna be straight up with it. Is that the worst experience that you've had then in terms of those negotiations?
Yeah, that would be probably the worst for sure. It really wasn't even. There was really no negotiation. It was pretty much, listen, we wanted. Lou deserved another chance in the league.
I don't agree with that, Zips. I think that's. I don't agree with that assessment of how shit works. Candidly, like everybody, like I just think that is a non-factor. I think making a decision like the one I pitched would not affect the future ability for them to get buyouts for players. Buyouts are really determined by the skill level of a player and not whether or not, you know what I'm saying? Like the other piece of it is not really going to drive it. At the end of the day, if you're dealing with a Vancouver, Carolina, or Boston, they're always not going to want to pay a fucking buyout. There are some top teams who have also been cheap about buyouts. Not many, but there are a couple, and I think it's ridiculous. And they're very lucky that because they are top orgs that nobody in the community has ever put them on fucking blast, but just wait until Bush deals with one of them. And I think it will be a hilarious situation. But to me, I just feel like, again, my position is like, if I were the Bush, I wouldn't pin it. Once Carolina fucks this up, I wouldn't pin it on Lou, bro. I would try to figure out another way to make sure the buyout gets covered and not make Lou pay his own fucking buyout. I think he's the one person that shouldn't get tagged in this.
We all knew that. We heard his story.
Somebody else
Obviously,
should cover
we
it
didn't follow
if
Lou
needed
for those Paris Legion time, so we didn't know anything about it. We've heard from him. We've heard from other people what his experience was with that, getting thrown to a fire on a fucking dog shit team.
Someone other
but
than
Lou
Lou,
has
bro,
worked his way back.
Fucking, like I said, make the Bush guys fucking do a subathon to cover Lou's buyout. I don't know. Like, do a call around, cold contract, like get a sponsor to cover Lou's buyout. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can make content out of trying to figure it out. I just, in my perspective, and I'm happy to tell the Bush guys and have this conversation with them on an owners meeting. I personally, of all the people involved in the situation, because Carolina's fucking it up, I would not pin it on Lou. That's all I'm saying.
Right. The story was there for him to go back. He played well. We pushed him there too. He gets back, right? We want him there. We want him to be in CDL. We know he deserves to be there. We weren't going to say, oh, no, you're not going.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we also have an org to run. You know, all this stuff going to majors, it all costs money. It's not cheap. You know, but like,
I don't know
for him,
what,
for his first experience,
I don't know what Miami's going to do.
To be like, hey, I gotta spend my own hard-earned money that I'm not making a lot of because, you know, I'm just in challengers.
Yeah.
Like now I have to spend that just to join this team. I felt like was really messed up, and that shows like a team who, in my opinion, doesn't deserve to have a roster
Jerry.
spot.
I agree.
But
Fuck
that was
Carolina.
the worst one. Vancouver, there was a little bit of a hiccup, but nothing major at all. They paid out buyouts twice, and then Boston Breach with Spark, you know, paid the buyout,
Boston.
no problem. But yeah, Carolina was straight up from the jump talking to our GM, Jace. Jace reached out to them saying, heard you want to trial Lou. They pretty much said, hey, we understand Lou has a buyout. We're not going to do anything with Lou. We're not going to pay. We have $0 to pay for a buyout. So, yeah, you know, just so you guys are aware, we're not paying $1. So we kind of had to break that news to Lou and tell him, like, sorry, it is what it is, bro. We want you to be there. Don't get us wrong. But, like, at the end of the day, this is just what has to happen.
Yeah, I think, I'm going to be honest, Bush Captain, I think that's exactly what's going on. I think they're going to cover it for Lou. But, like, they don't want to, you know what I'm saying? They're playing a little bit of a game, which is fine. I get that. But, like, because, you know, it really comes down to Carolina being fucking, and I don't even blame Brian. I assume Jace was talking to Brian. I don't even blame Brian because I don't think Brian's got any control on that. That's on this fucking Carolina entity that needs to get the fuck out and sell the spot, or at least come to an operating agreement with somebody else to just operate on their behalf so they can keep the asset and actually spend fucking money because it's ridiculous.
Because as well, like,
it's ridiculous.
As much as you love
ridiculous
them, of course, like, it's business at the end of the day.
You didn't even get
Level up their org or post. They don't try to in the seat. Like, they don't even post, man. They don't post. They don't try to promote their brand.
Correct.
They don't try to like level up their org or whatever. They're just okay with whatever, like paying guys the minimum and just trying to get by. I heard that whole C9 situation, which I don't even know if it's even legal to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're
I don't think it is
fucking
personally,
but like how is that able to happen at the professional level? I just don't understand it.
Well, I mean, obviously, there's a billion things that go on behind the scenes. You've already mentioned your ultimate goal, get to the CDL. What is, I mean, kind of, we've heard that, like...
We're going to watch this last segment, guys, and I got to get ready for the podcast and watch this last segment.
Omit and someone this year.
I think a big thing is the buy-in to the CDL is extremely expensive.
Yeah.
I think it costs a ridiculous amount of money just to get that spot. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a world where they can expand to like 16 teams, and it'd be like cheaper maybe next.
We'll talk about this more in the future. I'd love to expand to 16. They also need to get 12. They need to get Vancouver and Carolina out first before we start talking about expansion, in my personal opinion. Expansion will be covered by a TPA renewal probably in a year or so, but we also got to get these bottom tier orgs out so we can actually, you know, then find four other teams that will then fucking add to it.
Round of negotiation.
And fucking Zin was trying to argue to me that it's a terrible idea, and I'm like, brother, like, there's no way we're about to give Vancouver and Carolina like more leverage to make their asset worth more. Like, fuck them, like,
or whatever, or to buy somebody's spot who's already there, who's locked in, right?
Yep.
But listen, I'm not going to say the team, but there was a team who reached out to us and wanted us to pretty much buy their spot, and it just didn't make sense for us. It's like, why are we paying this much money to buy your spot? You're a failing org.
Chronic, probably.
You know what I mean? It's like the asking price you have is like ridiculous, makes zero sense, and I get it. They lost a ton of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're losing a ton of money because they're not putting money in and trying to level up their org. They're not putting out videos. They're not putting out content. They're not trying to make money on Twitch or YouTube streams or anything like that. They're just calling it a wash and be like, hey, we probably made bad investments. We can't keep up with the day-to-day operations of the team and the org. So like, hey, it is what it is. We're just going to take our losses until maybe we're bought out or we're kicked out. Who knows?
It's like that's kind of been my number one gripe with that sort of whole model is exactly that. Like it's hard for an organization like
Run his
we'll come back and finish this video later, but I gotta get ready for the CoDCast. But I thought it was a W interview. I thought Danjo Enigma asked some good questions, and I thought we got a different side of Jerry than we normally get. And I think it's a more mature Jerry. I think they've learned a lot over the last few months about how they need to operate the team and where they are in the space. And I think they're continuing to stick to their guns about being content focused. And I love with the Bush how transparent they are, the level of their content. I hope they keep this project going. You know, I hope Dave and Austin allow them to keep growing this thing. So we'll see more Bush. That sounds insane. We'll see more of the Bush over the course of this year. Holy fuck, that is. Let me join Discord, bro. I just lost full. Make sure my audio settings are correct in Discord too. Some video, headphones, yeah. Because we gotta set this up. I gotta set this up for the stream, which we'll see if it works. But where's fucking Discord? Yo,
what up, bro?
Speaking of the devil.
Not
What's up,
much.
BENJ?
Not much, bro.
How's New York, bro?
My parents' house has no AC, so I'm fucking dying right here.
What?
There's no
Okay.
well, they're fixing it today, but right now it's not in a good spot.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That's yeah.
I saw your round was pretty rough there last week, that read.
On Saturday, yeah, I played good the other 2 days.
I just remember I got notifications from Grant saying you were like 10 over on the phone. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, I was having a
What?
bad
shit.
time. I was having a bad time.
Why
on
do
phone.
you have that?
Well, because yeah, but I played good on the problem, Ray, is
No, Ben was balling.
I played 3 rounds in a row on 3 days, and by the time we got to the middle of the 3rd round, I just I had no lower body activation at that
Come
point.
on,
Like I was
man.
just
No, 54 holes is a lot, bro.
it was
You've
a
been
lot.
hitting the gym, man.
I know,
Yo, can
but
I
like
get
these are
the-
our first these are the first like grind. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't live in fucking California where I can golf every day, Ray. We had
I played
fucking snow on the
36
ground.
straight, right?
Like you know what I'm saying?
I gotta get my
yeah.
golf in for a little man's here. I had to get back-to-back
Then
rounds.
you're fucking chalked at that point.
Yo, can I get your guys' cam things? I want to start this ASAP because
I'm
they
already
want
in there.
Yeah.
me in early because I'm filming a bunch of Telestrator segments and we're gonna, on the COD TV. Hopefully, we air those during that.
Yeah.
Which
sending my
would be
camera out.
lit. Yeah, send me those. Let's get this rolling.
Virtual cam on here. Source.
Yeah, message it to me on this Discord.
My normal Discord heard. Let me join.
Also, my
Ninja.
OBS did just crash, but I just reloaded it and it seems to be all good. So I think we're good.
Okay. Let me send you both links.
What
Why is
is
Riley in
that?
my chat?
I play Riley in this week in the Madden franchise.
Yeah, guys, I know they're Jerry alluded to it last night that their Bush might be getting a headquarters. They're just
Oh
getting
yeah.
the Chicago office. Yeah, I mean, which they should have done. It seemed like always is the plan, but all right, this is one link.
Alrighty.
This
Thank you,
is-
pal. We back. Yeah, we back. I don't know. F's in the chat. My shit
But it's
exploded.
it's essentially going to be
Oh no. I think it's happening again.
Are we dropping packets or something?
No,
His
it's just
PC's bugging.
you see this shit on my this red shit on the stream? Is it showing it?
No, it looks fine for me. I just went to it.
All right, well, let's just try to do it without it.
Right, I think you're thinking of a
might be
different.
time to
I think you're
upgrade
thinking of a different Riley. Riley's not in the Madden League apparently.
Oh, is it not?
Different Riley.
That link's not working. Oh yeah, hold on.
You just gotta refresh them. They should work.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, guys, I have like, I'll send you a picture of this. I have like a red box. As long as it's fine pushing out, I think we're good.
I mean, it looks fine. It looks fine. I'm really
4,
watching a stream right
6,
now.
11, 8. 8 winning by fucking 10.
Wait, what's going on, Ray?
Just the scrim you're watching?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well,
to be
people
fair,
still
Ray,
figuring
to
shit
be
out.
fair, Ray, y'all also remember, like, they're just starting this map. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not, they know how to play all
I've
the
already
way,
figured it out, so you're good.
That's aura right there. Holy shit.
That was Aura.
Holy shit, that was insane.
It's really not that complicated. of a map, honestly, but
I
there
love
are
this
some
map, by the
stuff
way. I love this map. By the way.
Oh my
This map.
god,
I'm really good at
Ray's usually
Sorry.
like, you're very calm and collected, but that might be the most aura shit you've ever said.
I'm
in this
sorry.
call.
Oh, Ray's
That was
got,
actually
Ray's got an
crazy.
ego, bro. You
Oh,
once
no,
start
you
to know
never
better
see
in
it though.
game.
You never see it. Hold on, let me
Teaming with Ray, I was mind blown off rip. We'd be in a scrim after streams would be off. He'd be like, "Listen, those guys are just never gonna beat us." Like, I already saw it.
let me tell my stream how we're doing this. Just give me a second and I'll be ready.
All right, yeah, let's get this going.
All right, chat. So I'm gonna turn my cam off. You see it on Nameless's display. I'm also gonna full screen it as well. You're gonna start to hear stream right now.
I mean, when you're competing, yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
Trust me, as a coach, I am deluded.
I've been forced to be humble as an old man. I get humbled all the time.
And then
in ranked
what I'm
play.
gonna do, chat, is I gotta change this audio device real quick. So 1 second.
Okay.
So
Did you talk about the new Valorant format? It's all tournaments. I mean, we're not a Valorant show. We're not even like an esports show. We're just a COD esports show.
So you
Might
guys
be
hear the
technical
stream.
around
I don't hear
Valorant
it. This
for that
way,
one.
like, you guys don't hear the call, like you hear double audio. So just give me a second to set this up. I need to put a filter on this so it's a
It's
little
been
boosted
so nice
because
out.
Ant's fucking shitty ass fucking OBS setup
Took you a million
doesn't get
kills,
enough
you got
gain.
it?
So
You want me to stream? in
should be a
Discord
little
for
bit
you?
louder now. If not, just let me know. We're
Yeah,
also set up
that'd
the
be way better for
multi-Twitch
me
here in a
if you can.
second.
That'd be sick,
But
actually.
yeah, I'm gonna unmute in the call
Hopefully my shit doesn't explode when I
and
do this.
mute my mic from
Someone
here
get hit with
too.
ads left and right.
What up, chat? Give me 1 second.
Where do you pop out chat again? Here, pop
All right,
out
here.
chat.
All right,
I need
move to the
set
stage.
I need to set the multi-Twitch, right?
Yeah, do that. Move to the stage. Invite my backup, please, for favor.
Heard. Let
All
me
right.
open my dashboard.
All right.
Actually, I just actually need to go to stream and just invite you that way.
Hey. All right. Let me start recording. Whoa, that might break the computer, huh? We're gonna try it anyway. If it breaks it, it breaks it. We'll reset.
Guys, I just added you to share chat. Just accept the knock whenever.
I did not get it.
You didn't get it?
I did not. Oh no, yeah, I did. We're good. All right. Need to load up the standings first. All right, welcome to the CoDCast, ladies and gentlemen. We have a great episode for you guys. Stage 3 is this weekend. So I'm assuming a lot of you guys are watching this the day before the matches kick off. It's going to be an awesome weekend. We got a ton of changes to go through. And me and BENJ are back. We also have Ray back in the call for this one. He's had a long week, but we're going to have a great episode. How you doing, brother?
Hanging in there. My wife got a cyst removed from her back and she got cut up, so I have to basically handle the baby for almost everything, including at night. So my sleep has been reduced to very minimal amounts. So I'm doing my best to function, but if I say some dumb shit today, chat or people, just bear with me.
Is what it is. I will be there soon, and I hope the wife is recovering 100%, man.
She is. She's good.
And,
No, everything's good.
And I'm like, well, we are like 2-3 weeks out, so it's on the way.
Hell yeah. Yes, sir.
Ben, what about you, man? How's your week been? We played a lot of golf last weekend. Now you're in New York.
Yeah.
Looks like it's a bit warm in there, huh? A little toasty.
Well, so I'm here because I got to babysit my family dog, who is an older dog, because my parents are on a trip. And I get texted. I flew in yesterday, the day before. My mom texted me, so letting me know that the AC which they got a new AC unit over the winter, was not fully set up. So luckily the AC folks came this morning, did part of it. They got to pump out, I think, the rest of the line. They're going to come back probably during the show and get it going. But it's like in the high 80s today. And yeah, I might be sweating a bit on the show, boys.
It's all good, man. Listen, when you're warm, that's when your best performance comes out. Just know that, bro. A little sweat is good. But yeah, let's kick things off. Let's some housekeeping. We'll talk about what's going on like in the scene, meta changes and all that. And I reached out to some coaches and some pros in their chat, went to Kiz's chat today just to get like an update as of like within the last 45 minutes of what's going on. So what I was told was Clifftown is 100% GA'd. The NPC is 100% in. And now, which I guess yesterday it wasn't, but now today or within the last like day or two, the barrel is still allowed on the M15. And they tested like 2 other ARs and the Kogot. The only one that made it in was the NPCs. So that is the current like updated thing that's going on in terms of GAs and what's allowed and what's not. So we're going to be seeing NPCs this weekend, no Clifftown, and yeah, so that and the barrel back on the AR. But before we get to weapons, let's start with the Clifftown GA. So we get a map fully GA'd. It's been a huge topic out this week. I know you guys talked a lot about it on the flank, but let's just start with you, Ben, here once again. What are your thoughts on a map getting GA'd? I think it's the first time in the history of COD esports a map has ever been just banned.
I feel like that's happened before, no?
It happened to Expo Control.
Oh, it did? I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I feel like it happened.
That was a bit of a silent G on that one. I mean, look, like I don't think anyone's gonna sit here and when we say Clifftown, by the way, we're talking about Yemen. I don't think anyone's gonna sit here and say that's like an S tier map. It's got some issues. I think some of the concerns, especially in this title, or that the way that the map plays with kill timings, there's just a lot you can do and not get punished for, and you still spawn people in Narnia. So this doesn't play like a quality map, but is it like astronomically like should never be played bad? I don't really think so. That being said, the mini map being tilted on an angle really pissed me off, but whatever. Solves like minor issue. I think for the pros to then instantly GA it because it's in the pool is just an insane response. The fact that none of them even consider that's a potential gap and getting good at the map is hilarious to me, and it shows how immature the player group is. And I got a lot of flack for that statement. We talked about it yesterday on the flank, and some of the stuff I was seeing from pros in the chat was borderline like ridiculous to me. And yeah, I mean we can go into it more, but I may crash out over this topic again.
So the main critique I've seen is that there's too many, I guess, money hills. I do think I think it's the P3 when you spawn like deep alley is a bit frustrating. But there are some bad spawns on kind of like all the maps. So Ray, have you talked to anybody and seen what their exact reasoning is why they want to GA it?
No, so I haven't really heard the reasonings. I've watched the map be played in scrims. The players that I've been working with aren't too fond of it either, which is the Stallions. I will say though, like to your point, you said like if what you're saying about too many money hills is the thought process, then
that's what I've heard.
Oh my God.
Some people say.
So what's the Gridlock? Gridlock literally has 4 hills. And are we saying that not all 4 hills are capable of 60s? Like maybe P4 is a little harder. P1 can be sketch if you don't have tropes, but like P2 and P3 are like insta 60s. Like unless you royally mess up, dude. Like P3, if you want to break the hill, you need to set up a pinch, and when you set up a pinch, you literally make people spawn a hill.
And they could be pushed out both sides, right? And just farming.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's, I don't know, bro. Like I can understand the thought process, but I think the real issue with me is like mid-season maps are always tough to put in because there's like a lack of time to really make good assessments on it and learn how to play them quickly to where pros get comfortable with them. And they like the reaction's always like no, unless the map is just great from the get-go. Like Modern 3 was an example of like, well, we had Rio and then we had Six Star and
Vista. It was awesome.
And Vista, which were all 3 maps that like from the get-go really like Vista maybe like a little less, but the other 2 were like guaranteed like, yeah, these are freaking great. Like these look good, they play well, they're symmetrical more or less. Like it was like a very, very easy yes to them. And I feel like the maps this year, in some capacity aren't. So I can kind of see the
all of
reaction to
them.
the pros. Like if I was like in the same position, if I was a coach in the league, like I would be skeptical about trying to add things like that without really having thorough time to test them. But at the same time, like we want new things, and like I understand why the league's pushing for them, and I understand why. Like I get kind of all sides of it. I'd really want to know who was the committee that made those decisions. And I think the one thing I will agree with Ben on, I wish there was a little more transparency about everything. And I don't really necessarily, I mean, I care what the pros feel to a certain extent, but I don't necessarily think that needs to be transparent, but just how the process is going and who's involved in the process, I think would be good to know, just so there's like the pros should kind of know at least who's controlling it. Like whatever committee there was to help make decisions, in my opinion, should be out there ideally, so we know. If I was a player, I would want to know the person and someone in charge or helping make these decisions is qualified enough to help me make these decisions on what I'm going to play.
Yeah,
but,
I could speak
that's
to
just my
that a
take.
little bit. So one, I've seen people tweet me like, you and Octane are like the leaders of this committee. One, there is no committee. They asked for like feedback, and Sam hosted 8, so we played, gave feedback. But there is no committee picking maps, at least that I'm a part of. I'm pretty sure it's just the league that select. So yeah, we give feedback, and then the league selects maps. But my question is, and I don't want to villainize the pros. I know that, some people are coming at you, Ben, for villainizing pros. I don't think it's on pros. I think it's just if maps are getting added to ranked, and clearly there's going to be change in terms of weapons, maps, and they want people to test stuff. How, if they are unanimously agreeing to not add something, how is that not brought up before maps get put into the map pool? That's like my number one question.
Brought up to the pros, like, but via the league, like who bringing it up?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if the maps are being tested and the pros are obviously like playing these maps and it's going to be in, how are they not asking like to the league or telling the league like, yo, we don't want to play this map or this map? Can we get some transparency here? Like what's going to be added and what's not? Because from what I saw, what JP said is he didn't even know the maps that were going to get added until this Intel CDL tweet. So like, to me, there's just like a disconnect there that has to get solved. Like it just has to. Like,
communication is the best.
I mean, yeah, but I talked about this. I talked about this yesterday. Like the problem is that, and the pros honestly do not tell the truth about this on stream and in Twitch chats and on social media. They just candidly just don't give feedback on these things. Like, yeah, there are times in the past where certain feedback has been given and ignored. That has happened from pros or coaches putting together very mature documentation with photos and images and video, and that's gotten ignored for a number of reasons.
But the thing is,
like in the case of this, but let me just finish. Like in the case of something like this, I genuinely assume that like that feedback, like there was no 11 or 12 different teams went to the league and said, oh, you guys really shouldn't put this map in. It sucks. I assume that there was feedback. It was just either super vague or just not like specific enough.
Here's the thing though, if the maps are added to like ranked and they know that maps are going to be added, like there has to just be a discussion, and the players and the teams in their chat, whatever it is that nobody can see, just sort what they want and what they don't want, and then have a discourse with the CDL. I feel like that, I guess that's where it stems from. Like that part, the pros and the league's communication was just, I guess, off in this one. But as it stands right now, it's not going to be played. Like it's 100% G8 is what I was told from one player and 2 different coaches. So that's where we stand there.
Apparently there's been a few teams still playing it, and like, I don't know. I mean, that's, again, I'll just kind of refer to what the Flank was saying last night. Ben, you're on it. You can kind of add on to this, but it sounded like there wasn't what you're saying now was like for the 2 coaches you probably spoke to but it sounds like there's other people in the league that are not following suit with that.
So that's another part. So if they're not following suit with it, then what is going on? And when they say all the teams agree that it shouldn't be in, like, I guess I'll refer to you, Ben, because you're kind of, I'll refer to you, Ben.
They could have all agreed by now.
Because Ben's kind of in these discussions more, like tapped into that stuff. Like, is it not unanimous then? Like, what is? I've heard a couple people say that, and then I heard a clip of Sam saying that there's been some people still playing it too. So, can you tell me a little bit more about this? Like, what the hell is actually going on? Are the pros like all in active communication about it? And like, where is this going to end up?
Damon came in Zuma's chat a couple days ago and said essentially all 12 teams voted to GA it. So there wasn't like a splinter team or two. But I don't know if maybe people have, like, for example, been like, well, we're about to go to this Pro-Am at the LAN. What happens if P7 or Rock Esports or any one of the other teams that qualify for this are picking Clifftown, or we haven't scrimmed it and play it? Are we just fucked in that map if they actually use that advantage? Like, I wonder if that's potentially, I don't know for a fact, just some of the calculus.
Another thing, like, why didn't they scrim and play it? Like, it's I don't know. There's so much to it. Like, again, I don't want to sit here on the show and villainize the pros, but I mean, if this should be a wake up call to have at least try to have your word, you know, go further and have a better process together. And it doesn't need to be as crazy as what what you've been proposing for years. It just needs to be like, y'all need to be involved. If there's any pros watching this, like, hit them up in open communication. When maps are like in ranked, they're clearly are available to the map pool. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think it's not a terrible map, but if all the pros want it gone and it's all 12 G8 it, then it should just get removed. Otherwise, it's going to affect the veto process, and shit like that's going to happen at the Pro-Am, which is problematic.
Which would be hilarious. It would be really funny if like Rock and P7 actually played the map. And one thing before you go, Ray, that's hilarious to me is if people knew what was said or the lack of things said this DM, I think they'd be mind blown. And the players are very lucky that the league, for a number of reasons, mostly political, mostly the fact that Activision and Microsoft, and now obviously, you know, they're a combined company or a public company, like they're not going to go out and make headlines and start like, you know, putting out statements about like kind of how the other side of it's not really respecting the process. Like it is farcical to me. It is farcical.
I did hear
by the way,
JP's talking in chat too about it.
I know, but the last thing, like, I just would take everything that players say about communication at DM with a grain of salt. I know what's said in there. I've been setting examples. A lot of times the pros are just straight up lying about what gets said in that DM. I'm just being straight up with Dale.
I mean, I can't speak to that because I don't know.
Misrepresenting what's going on in there.
We can ask Ray. Ray, were you a part of the chat last year? That was like part of decisions.
No, it's always been players only for the.
Okay. Never mind then.
For the GA chat, the coaches have their own chat.
But JP said that in the chat just now. Let me scroll up. He said, I did hear that they said in chat that a good amount of teams did say they didn't think it should be a map. Well, I mean, if that's the case and they added it anyway, then yeah, I mean, is what it is.
What's interesting to me and where I was going to go with this is that there are 6 maps now in Hardpoint, which is this the first time we've ever done this? Has there been a game while I wasn't around?
Before the CDL in BO3, BO3 we had a shit ton of maps.
Gotcha.
AW, we had a shit ton of maps.
It wasn't around for that, so okay.
Did we have 6?
Fair enough.
Did we have 6 before in the CDL? I don't remember.
I will say I think the map sets in at least Hardpoint, I guess aside from the whole Clifftown debacle, is in a way better spot, especially if they patch exposure and bring exposure back. Yeah. We'll be in a pretty good spot. Obviously, we have to see how these play this weekend, you know, in some of these matches, but we do have a lot of variety now. And we got rid of Blackheart, which was, you know, I don't even think it got played once at the major, maybe one time on Bravo. So in a better spot there. But let's talk about the maps and how they play. Let's talk about the 2-1 specifically teams are going to play this week, which is Gridlock and Saki and Hardpoint that got added. What do we think about that? Who does it benefit? Let's start with you, Ray. What do you think about those maps? You've been coaching it up a bit. Start with Gridlock.
Yeah. So let's say Yemen's out of it, right? So Gridlock is probably the most bipolar map we're going to have in the entire game. Probably the most, I want to argue it's probably like one of the most different paced maps comparatively to the rest of the pool we've had in years. It just plays so different because it's not as head bashy. It's very kind of old school D where you have to like split the map. You have to rotate extremely early. If you don't, then you get penalized for it. People spawn on basically hills. So breaking P2 and P3 on this map is, I don't want to say impossible, but
hard.
It's extremely difficult. Like you need to basically get insane picks, which will mostly rely on the other team making mistakes, not really you making good plays. At least from what I've seen so far, I could be like, again, the level of play I'm seeing is not necessarily pro level yet. So, but in that sense, I think Gridlock's going to be an extreme pace changer, which I think will benefit some of the teams that had a hard time playing at the quicker pace necessary to play at the high level on the other maps, like the bang out maps. So I'm definitely seeing I think this will for sure help some of the teams that we see as good teams that were struggling before in Hardpoint, because this might become an auto veto against them for this. Like the teams that just like playing let's say ratty corner camping, like instead of just bang as a team.
Because kills on rotation on Gridlock go a long way. They really do.
Yeah.
And you get into some what I would call like real gunfights where like you see a guy from 20, 30 meters out on a rotation, you're in the back and you're fighting them. That fight can last like 4, 5, 6 seconds, which I think it's just different. I'm not necessarily saying it's like better or worse. It's just different. And I think it's nice variety. Ben, what's your take on Gridlock?
I agree with Ray from what I've seen. Again, we'll see how the pros play it. Like, you're going to have to be proactive on this map. You just, like, yeah, there are times where in a certain situation, maybe you get a freebie old hit because we're already kind of leaning towards new and we can get away with it. But, like, people that, don't play quick could benefit if they play ahead of the game on this one. But if people get stuck face smashing old, like, they're going to have a hard time on this map. And I'm looking to see teams like a Carolina who had their first and second best hardpoint removes. Can they take advantage of a map like this? Otherwise, they may be in real trouble with where the map pool is set up for a team like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, dude, you spawn out P2, you're giving it one good go, maybe another scrappy one, and that might not be the greatest choice, right? So
you think for P3?
I'm talking about on P2, and then the rotation to P3 is so important that like it's hard to coordinate another actual good break on the second one.
It's gonna be a lot of like
you can get a close spawn on P2, but to your point, like you also got to lean to P3 because if people get set up at P3, at least in this game, it seems very difficult to break at the moment.
When they're pushed out both sides, like where Shotzi is in the doorway, and then when they're all the way on the other side, dude, it's so hard to pinch, like because the gunfights are just tough. So yeah, I mean P2 to P3, I mean it's just a back-to-back rotation. You win both of those, you're gonna be in a great spot. I like it. I think it's good.
But once again, guys, as I say every year when we have new maps, one key element that people don't always consider off the rip is, can you throw nades across the map? Where are the windows located? The timings of how rotations work when you get trophies. Like, are there going to be opportunities for teams to skill gap on coordinating names off of deep spawns and getting a free pick before they even see the other team? That will be an interesting gap to see if it develops.
I'm gonna tell you what though, this is gonna offer all the people that like betting out there. If you feel like a team's gonna be having picked this map in a series, this is gonna mess up your over-unders for total because engagements on this map are gonna be a lot lower than the other maps for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. In terms of Saki, I think I've come around a bit on it. I feel like after watching it a couple of times in these streams, the Opticus stream, like it's actually plays pretty solid. It is a drag when you spawn out, just like how Gridlock can be. It's just some of the spawns are just so far on Saki.
It's not as bad on Saki though, because you have so many options for routes. I think
you can
Saki's
go through mid and stuff.
I really like Saki, to be honest. I think that's a great map. Some of the engagements on P3 or P4 are a little weird because of the rocks, but I think beyond that, like the map plays really good. There's a lot of like intelligent ways to go about things. I'll bring up the word efficient again, my favorite word. There's so many avenues to take advantage of situations that don't look great, kind of what you just described, to make them into good ones. You just have to be like very recognizant of the situations you're in to be able to take advantage of it. So I think it's going to be a really cool map, and I think this is one of the maps that'll be more in line with the other maps we had, where the teams that were playing really well before will probably really good at this, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean we'll see where it develops. I think it's also just nice variety to have in our map pool. And yeah, so that's where we're at with the hardpoint. Well, before we move on, Ben, what are your thoughts on Saki before we get to search?
I think Saki's an interesting map. Again, very surprised to get added off the rip, but it's very funny that
didn't this get
the situation now?
When did this get added to the game? Like a month and a half, 2 months ago?
I think it was before Major 2, I'm pretty sure, no?
Before Major 2.
What took the pros so, if they liked it so much? I don't understand why they just didn't.
I don't know. They didn't like it. That was the issue. I don't know if they all played it.
Like it.
This is another situation where
stop. This is literally before, like, this was like post Major 1 to Major 2, where there's like literally no break. Like I don't think the appetite to make a change when you literally have no weeks, no time off between majors to go into next matches is really something you're thinking about.
They had 2 week. They had 2 week break after Major 1. No.
I mean,
did they? I don't remember. I
thought it was. I don't know. I don't know if the small
well,
break is even an excuse, really.
I don't think it's an excuse. And like JP's in the chat, like Optic tried to play it against a bunch of teams and they flat out refused. Like I think there's another one of those maps that like a couple of teams played. Wait. Some were go with it, some had some reservations, and the other teams just group thinked and didn't want it in, so didn't get added.
And wasn't the NPC too? Like, why did we could have added Saki and the NPC after Major 1?
Chris talked about this on the flank for like a month and a half ago about the NPC, and it's gotten buffed since then. So again, this is why I think people need to understand that, like, as much as y'all want to, you know, gas up the pros, like, you guys got to start to realize that their way of thinking, the way they approach these things, maybe back in the day when Austin and Lamar and them were running point, like, they were much more empirical about it. But now these guys are actually just lost in sauce.
I don't want to villainize the pros, but two things can be true. If they all want something gone, it should be gone.
I
don't
give a fuck.
At the same time, like, you know, there does need to be a way for, like, they just need to have a meeting with the league like every 2 weeks or something, bro. I don't know. I truly don't know, because, like, I'm glad it's getting added, but it should have been in way before. But let's move on to the next maps, the S&Ds. Plaza got added. We added another search, I think, or just Plaza. Or Fringe. Yeah.
One more got added. Didn't they add 3, or am I tripping?
I think just 2. Or is Gridlock in? Is Gridlock in?
Yeah.
Fringe, Plaza, and Gridlock, yeah. So I really want a Meltdown to get added. I wish it got added, but I am happy that we got new search maps. I played Plaza a couple of times. I'm like not totally against it, but like it is pretty wild when it's a 4v4 A rush. I will say that. It does get pretty crazy.
Does it play anything like the Black Ops 2 one?
You like, so in the BO2 one, it was just all rush routes where you just kind of bang out and make the early play.
Side,
yeah, it does when you do the straight up bang out, but like retaking just doesn't feel as hard as it did back in BO2. So I guess that's like a good thing. And you can go like mid and like cut over towards B. So I don't know. I just gotta watch the pros play it. I'm not the biggest fan of it right now, but I'm not like saying it shouldn't be a map. So I just gotta watch the pros play it. Fringe, I actually kind of played that a couple of times yesterday. I think it's solid. You can, you know, go to both sites. Going junkyard can be a little tough. You can play mid. Snipers are gonna have a fun time on that map. But yeah,
I'm gonna have a fun time on all 3 of these maps, to be honest.
Well, I don't know. Snipers on Plaza, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it'd be pretty tough. You'd be getting cameraed. But yeah. So let me
in A, but on other sides of the map. I finish your thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't gotten to play Gridlock S&D yet, so that's one I don't really know if it's gonna play well or not. It's pretty big, but yeah, let me kick it over to you, Ray. Have you watched any Plaza S&D, Fringe S&D, played it? Gridlock, what are your thoughts?
So I have not seen or played any of it, so I'm just going to I'm not going to say much on it. To me, it's more so where I find it interesting for Plaza. I don't believe it played that well back in the day. We played it at Champs because we had like a million maps at Champs, but then it got removed basically instantly after. So I'm actually really sad not to see Meltdown. I've seen Meltdown and I've played it a few times, and like there wasn't really any, like, the one thing I will say was like the wall jumping was kind of like, I mean, there wasn't much wall jumping going on anywhere. Like, it's not like there's a ton of places to do on a map anyway. So, but at the same time, I thought that map is just awesome. Like, we played it so many times when it was in Black Ops 2. I thought it was always interesting because there's so many different like kind of fights there, like on the map. You could snipe on the water side, you can go inside. Was it A side was the pillars one where the
rush route top window, the like the smoke cross, like bomb plant.
I don't know. It was just a map that offered so many different like strategic like mindsets and options to it that would have been really cool to see with the pace and the speed of the game now.
Well, we could add it hopefully next stage. I mean, it just all depends on how Fringe and Gridlock Plaza play. Plaza's gonna be a bang out though, bro. I'm telling you, it's gonna be.
I'm not a fan. Like, I feel like that was one of the. What did we remove for it? Like, is Colossus out? Was it?
Yeah, Colossus is out here. I can pull up the tweet.
So we remove a bang out for a bang out? Is that kind of like
the thing with Plaza and why I'm a little concerned about it is like there are cuts to the, if you've ever played it, like there are cuts to the middle of the map.
Yeah, of course. You can go B. Like, I mean, it's not like you can't go.
But through across all the lanes. But my point is, like, I think the map is so small and the movement so fast in this game. Like, I think it's going to be a bit of a similar problem to Colossus S&D where it turns a bit into TDM because it's going to be a little bit difficult once you get past the A bang out strats to like actually slow down and work a plant.
There's still a bomb in the bar, right?
Yeah.
So it's like That's the thing for me is like maps like that are in a similar fact. I mean, I guess Colossus is a little different because it was on the guaranteed side, but on maps where if you don't play aggressive for certain positions and the other team does, then it's just so blank countery because you get such an advantage of that. Unless, like you said, maybe it's easier to retake. So if that's the case, then maybe it's not as bad.
So I'll say this though. So you're saying like if the offense doesn't instantly hit A, it can be tough. So I will say that about this. So after playing it, I don't know how with the pros and the speed that they play, how it'll change, but I will say like if the defense commits like an A push and you have somebody like holding the push through and they start to second guess themselves, like you can get through mid, get in like and push in there and take site. Like it's not that difficult. Like unless they're just like straight up stacked. And going B, like you have to respect, because if they get pushed up B and they get the courtyard all the way on the deep left, like if you have one guy holding that and they get that courtyard control, you can pop in and out of like the outer ledges and stuff so quick that it's really difficult to retake B, in my opinion. Obviously we have to watch the pros. So you can't just like on defense fully give up like the B site with one guy. You have to either have like a mid presence or like somebody like pushing up for information over there. You know what I mean? So there is a push and pull and like a meta game to it, I think. But we will have to watch the pros before we like get a super accurate assessment, because they play a lot
we're just
quicker.
making assumptions. I would I would have loved to see Meltdown for Scar. Top of that, because I think Scar is one.
Yeah, me too.
Just
I don't think Scar should be.
You guys know why we didn't know yesterday. Why is Meltdown not being considered?
I don't know.
Is there like bugs or some issue that we don't know about?
I really want to Meltdown in. I think Scar is the #1 map that needs to be removed. Like Black Hardpoint just because the pros didn't play it, and then Scar just because it's like legitimately objectively a bad S&D map.
It's like that and Colossus. I thought were the two that should have been more or less auto out, but I guess exposure got removed because of the frame rate stuff.
Yeah, I think the exposure is probably what
but exposure is still on overload. How is that like?
Because there's just not apparently, me and you, we haven't tested all these or maps in the game on overload, but apparently there's just no good option for overload other than exposure. So even regardless of the bugs, it has to be in. That is what I've heard like 4 different people say.
Gotcha. That's a weird one.
Yeah, JP, maybe you can give us a little more context to this. Sorry, Ben, one sec. JP, why is there no other option even with the bug on exposure? Like, how many overloads have you guys really tried? And then go ahead, Ben. Sorry, I just want to ask him that.
No, we keep having this issue with the third game mode map pool. Like at some point we got to have the adult convo about what we're doing here with the third mode. If it's just a drag every year, like I don't know if the time for the convo is now. But like at some point this year, if we can't improve the overload map set, we got to have the combo, bro, about this third game mode and whether or not we actually need one.
I mean, I
would argue we do. I mean, there'll be 3 searches
or
3 hard points, but I don't know. I don't think it's as bad as people make it sound. Like, yeah, sure. Like we don't have a. Yeah, I don't. It's still a newer mode too, so it's like there, and we'll have OT rules now, right? So it's like I don't really see that mode having specifically needing map changes, because there's so much of it strategically to me that's still like undiscovered or at least not consistently done well. So I think that's not necessarily something we need to see like changes map wise like all the other maps do.
So JP said that I told you I'm in the dark, which is one crazy, coach of Optic. But we're working on better comms with the coaches in the league. I do feel like that's probably a better way to go if it's just the coaches rather than like the player chat. You guys representing them or in those discussions?
I mean, we had like, I mean, I'm speaking for previous years. I don't know if it's changed or not, but we had a coach chat with all the coaches, and then Claire and Spence were in there. So like if there's communication things or things they were asked about, like we were there sharing it. But
why did the DM die?
Our pit, no, I mean, the DM was, I mean, I don't know if it died this year. I have no idea, but while I was there, it was always there. It's just, It was just their coaches' opinions are just not valued as the same as the pros, period. Like we were never asked about these things. It was always just the player, the whatever GA chat with Spence and them. That was the place where things are discussed.
This is where the issue with the league side is. Like they need to have a better chain of command with all the different levels of participants in this league. There should be a player chat. There should be a coaches chat. There needs to be a GM chat. At the ownership level, they need to be more active. At all levels,
they just remade it.
Well, that's good.
Great. At all levels, communication needs to be more two-way communication, not just.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm with you there, but I'm not. I just. It's always going to be a tug of war battle against who like really matters in a sense. And then the real problem with the pros is that there's always going to be certain guys who are looking out for themselves.
And it's going to be teams that don't care and players that don't care. It's
well, I think that's the thing though. To me, I think all the teams care. It's just certain ones are more lenient and okay with changes, and some aren't, and some are just very, I don't want to say scared of changes, but are always going to be against them because they don't feel like they're going to suit them. And if they are with them, like, you'll always have a guy or two, and I won't say names, but I'm sure you guys can fucking guess here, but you always have a guy or two in a GA chat that are trying to lead shit, and they will literally say no to 10 things but say yes to one because it feels like it's going to impact them positively. And it's like, well, duh. Like, so then everyone else is like fucking we'll go about it and be like, nah, fuck that, we're not doing that now because you want it. Like, you didn't want all these other things that we wanted, but now you want it. It's just, it's such a like a shit storm of like decision making in that end. That's just, it's not it.
I get it. I will say though, after this whole debacle and, you know, getting through all of it, there's obviously some things that we probably want changed, like Scar. Obviously now the pros want Clifftown, so probably get that out, and hopefully they fix exposure sooner or later. But I do feel like the map set's in a better place than it was. And it's going to be fun to watch all these teams adapt. But let's move on to the guns. We got one new gun. So there's the W. We got the NPC. I talked to Kismet today. He said it's 100% in. And they tried the other ARs. They just didn't make it. What are your guys' thoughts on the NPC? Because I think that gun is godlike. Like,
so what
really
I've been watching, it seems like it's completely replacing the Dravik, right? Are people still even touching the Dravik?
I would probably just use the NPC. Like, that gun is crazy.
Maybe I'm different in the thought process here, but I feel like replacing a gun 1-for-1 doesn't really accomplish anything.
Yeah, we want multiple.
It's going to give you a free, like a fresher feel because it's a gun that'll sound different, shoot different. Maybe will help like the separation of the AR SMG meta be a little better. But yeah, at the core to me, like we want Black Ops 2. I got whatever, like Black Ops 3 had a good gun meta. Like I want to see at least 3 minimum guns used where there's like, you either have 2 different ARs or 2 different SMGs for obvious reasons that are just that are better use in certain, even if it's just for a certain hard point, we switch it. Like I don't know. I miss that kind of like thought process of gun variety, and seeing different instances gives you different feel for certain players. It kind of adds like the idea of roles a little more in.
I do. So what Brian, that's what I was going to bring up. What Brian Saint just said, I do think is potentially good. Is that like on the maps where you're seeing a lot of 3 ARs, sometimes 4, if we're seeing more SMGs because the NPC is better, that could be a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That could be a good thing. But I do agree with you, and I've been saying it for years. Ultimately, I think the best games are the ones where we have like a 3 to 4 gun meta, or like a hybrid AR gun, like IW's meta, Black Ops 3's meta. We just haven't had it in quite a while. So I agree with you there, but it's just a really hard thing to do. Because the best gun, all the players just want to run whatever that they consider what the best gun is, right? So
on Gridlock P4, we were just watching Optic, and they're literally dashing at a sub out. So they're going 4 subs on P4 Gridlock. It's just going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if we're seeing more subs because of the NPC, it's gonna be cool. I don't know if I could really say who I think it benefits just yet. But yeah, I guess if there's more subs being whipped out, I don't know. It's tough. We got to watch some of these matches first. We really just have no idea. Ben, what are your thoughts on the NPC?
I mean, I think it's more fun to watch people fly around with the NPC. It's just like, I don't know. We always talk about like sort of the visual, I don't know, like so hard to quantify, but just like Dravik just didn't feel like an SMG when you had it in your hand or watched someone use it. The NPC really feels like it. I've watched a lot of scrims this week. Like it looks like potentially people are pulling the sub out more. So I'm really excited to see this weekend, like how it gets used. And I think after that, we can make kind of assessment on whether it's kind of improved or maybe hurt the meta. Not really sure yet on that one.
Yeah. So we're kind of on the same boat. We'll revisit this next week's episode. But the last thing in the housekeeping is the overload timer will no longer pause when holding the device, and you can't drop the device anymore. I've seen actually some mixed responses to this on social media. Some people saying that they actually liked how you could just pause it and come back over and over. I think I probably lean towards the side of like, I like this now, how they have it, like where it can no longer pause, because games were just playing out so weird, dude. Like like I thought we got a good balance in last split of like people not parking the bus, and even if they were, you could get there and stop it. And, people playing the objective and playing like the game mode in a strategic, like good way. And in this one, it just feels like you can just camp super hard, time stop. Like there's really no incentive to really do anything when you have a lead.
The flow was weird.
Yeah, the flow and the cadence is so weird.
Like it didn't yeah, sure. Like the thought process, I think, is just more like you were never, the game was never lost in a way. But I think the place where the change was a reaction of something that happened earlier in the year when the park the bus started, is my guess. And the game evolved, the game mode evolved, because it's still a new mode, right? Like everything evolved to a place where it wasn't really something people did anymore. Whenever they added the spawn changes to where you weren't spawning in Narnia anymore, people were sitting in their base, which is all you needed to do to prevent that, because teams got more opportunities to try and get the ball off your hands if you're playing park the bus, so that it's not as good a viable strategy anymore. You still want to play for map control, even if you have a lead. So I think it's just an overreaction and something that came in. And it sounds like we're not keeping it, right? Like
we fixed it. I mean, we said it right away on this show, like with Overload at Major 2 actually played good. Like I don't think we should have. I think the OT change was good. Stopwatch, I actually really like how that plays. But I think if that was the only thing that we changed, then it's good. And that's where we're at now. So I'm glad that they fixed it. Because I think Overload's going to play fine now. Ben, you?
I mean, I just think the thing that they're trying to adjust for is they're trying to make it fluid. They're trying to make it more competitive, especially when the map is less close. But they also got to balance for the fact that nobody wants to play the map for 25 minutes. So, and again, to Ray's point, like this is a very new game mode. Like stuff like this is going to happen. I think these changes should improve the overtime situation, but also still make it a little bit more playable. Let's see what happens when the pros get their hands on it this weekend.
Yeah, because like Brian, what you're saying there, and for the audio listeners, he's saying with the clock stop, it just made it where teams with 2+ cap lead were incentivized to not grab the ball. Like the way it plays is like everybody's playing the game and playing Overload for like the first, I don't know, minute and a half of the game. And then like a team gets a lead and then there's 46 seconds left on the clock and we're just protecting the ball, like make sure nobody can get to it, right? So that's kind of how it played, and it was just the flow and the cadence, everything felt so weird, and it could feel hopeless at times. So I'm glad that we went back. I think Overload's going to play great this split. But that's it for the updates to the meta and maps and game modes. We've had some roster moves. I want to start with you here, Ben. Rial has rejoined Miami Heretics, I assume as a substitute. How did that happen? Do you have any information on that? And I guess kind of what are your thoughts? Like their long-term goals could be just maybe a Metals replacement at some point. Like I'm just trying to wonder what their thinking is when they obviously had him on the team then last year and didn't retain him.
I mean, I think that crew, right, their old team, I think has always been close. And I think the way that he ended off with the squad was really down to the sort of ebb and flow of that negotiation between Heretics and KOI. And I think it became sort of an economic choice for him, to the point of he didn't want to make sure that, his old pals were also getting economically hurt. And that's been, covered extensively in the offseason prior to the season. But I think once it became clear that like he was also not in a particularly stable situation with KOI, I think then, Heretics wanted that kind of hedge of bringing the old squad back if Trakes didn't work out. So I think it's a low risk, potentially high reward move for Heretics. Do I think that maybe there's a role where bringing Rail or substitute unsettles a Trakes or a Metal? Sure. But I think it gives them more options potentially throughout this year, because all as good as Heretics have been online, candidly at LAN, they have been disappointing this year and they need to step up.
I don't think like Metals or Trakes are really playing that bad. So I guess, I don't know, like just protect themselves for the future. Ben, or Ray, what are your thoughts on this move out of them? Because they signed him to a 2 or 3 year contract, something like that.
For Real?
Yeah, I think it was 2 years or something like that. They said it was like through. Let me go to the tweet. I have it. I saw something where it was like till 2027 or 20. I don't know where is that. It's till 2028. So so he signed to kind of like a extensive deal.
2 year deal, basically. I think 127. Yeah, I mean,
probably with a +1, I guess.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, it's probably 1+1 or something like that. I mean, regardless, I think the offseason move went down kind of weirdly. I'm not gonna lie. Like that was one of the few times we saw some very exposed drama over a team that treats their I mean, like, dude, Miami or the Heretics have been very, very thorough about keeping their players from their homeland. Like it's been a Spain team since the start. I feel like that's for a player like him who obviously came from that realm. He can speak English as well, but I feel like it was kind of weird to see a disconnect there between a player and a team that gave him an opportunity to succeed in that sense. So it was just an oddball move for it to go public like it did. But I don't know if I have a hard time seeing them find a way for him to get back in. I think Trakes is performing really good.
He is.
I think he is definitely shown that he has what it takes. Like he probably still needs a little more experience. I think, I mean, I don't want to repeat myself because I've said this a million times, but I think the issues with this team are more, it's not necessarily from the, it's not
kills.
More how they approach. Yeah, it's not kills. Exactly.
Which is what Real
I'm trying to
would
way to
bring.
sugarcoat it, but like they're getting all the kills they need. It's finding a way to transform those kills into advantageous positions to where they're actually scoring while they're getting their kills.
This is let's be honest, bro. This is a vibes pickup.
I just, like, to finish my point, I just don't see, like, even if he was put into the roster for another player, I don't see that move changing much about things unless he just finds them to approach the game in a way that they played the last year, which I don't know exactly where the disconnect is from last year to this year, because I felt like towards the end of last year they were one of the more efficient teams in the game with their kills. They were very, very annoying to play. They were a little slower, but they were still getting stuff done when they did get their kills, which is something we haven't really seen from them as much this year. I think it's just maybe a little harder to do that this year. So I don't know. It's tough, man. I don't know where he slots in, if he's even going to get a chance to slot into the actual main roster this year. And if he does, if it's even going to make them better, or at least right away.
I mean, I feel like they'd be the same team unless they like brought him in for medals and like they were just straight up overwhelming every team that they played. But when they win, that's kind of already what they do anyway. So I feel like this is just like kind of, yo, the boys is back. You know, if shit does hit the fan, we can just bring him back in and we'll be good. I feel like that's kind of the mentality here. I mean,
Real's a good player, bro. Like he's a good player, dude. Like he
wasn't good to start the year, but he's a solid player.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's,
but he had a disappointing stint with KOI. It just didn't seem like it was a good fit. And he style worked really well with the Heretics boys last year, and he couldn't really figure it out with Joe and them. Like, will he play this year? I think if Heretics don't make it deep on a Sunday at this event, I think they probably rotate somebody out for him. But it seems like he also has to solve a few visa things before he can even do that. So I'm not sure what the timing on that is, unfortunately.
I mean, this is a win-win for Miami, really, as long as the players that are currently on the team like aren't taking it any type of way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
that's a good point.
So it's a win-win for Miami. It's just like, yeah, I mean, if Real comes in with a good mentality and if somebody underperforms, then he'll be there. So he, ideally in their case, he motivates the, medals and Trakes just keep on improving, or everybody on the team just keep on playing well. And if worse comes to worse, he'll come into the lineup. So I don't hate it. They have him for a while, a good player under contract, and he gives them the ability to put him in at any point. But let's move on. There's not much to talk about there because he's not going to be playing this weekend. The Falcons are set to keep their roster after trialing QK for, was it with XNID and then with Pred? Like I don't know what was going on in the Falcons camp, but at the end of the day, they're keeping the team. I wanted to talk about this because this is very interesting to me. Like when you actively like trial a player for like a week and a half, like I personally do think that does like damage. You have to be, as the players in this team that were on the chopping block, you have to somehow shut that completely out of your mind that, you were potentially could have been dropped from this team and just get back to focus on what you were thinking about, I guess, prior to the major and at the major. That's a hard thing to do, right? I want to talk to you as a coach. Like, how would you handle a situation like this? And in your mind, if like this team can even get back to where they were and improve upon that?
You see, where I struggle with in all this is, first off, I probably would have been very reluctant to even go in that direction. Just like what you described as the player, like you need very specific human beings to be able to handle that kind of like mid-season kind of, I don't know what word to use here. No words coming to my brain, but like, what I'm saying. Like it's kind of a negative stint to what's going on the team was performing, in my opinion, very well up until LAN for both. Like, I mean, Major One, maybe not so much going to Major One. They were okay in certain ways, but I thought they were in my opinion, they were like a top 3, top 4 team going to Major Two.
100%.
So it's not like
in respawn.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fair. So the way I see it too is more like there's so much changes here for certain players that have been on certain teams for a while, like especially for Cell, been on team forever. Pred had these issues last year. X, and it's still kind of still in a way a new player to all this, and Kiz was trying to slot into this. So this is not a team at the start here that I was seeing going to be performing really well quickly. I think it was a team that, as long as they progress forward, and they had a very high ceiling, and they still do have a very high ceiling, if they can get to that point and progress in a way that is direct route to where they get to where they want to be, and they don't go back down, then I thought that was a team that had a chance to win events down the later stretch of the year.
It sets them back, though, bro.
Yes. I mean, they lost whatever amount of time they tried this on practice wise, and in that sense, like, if we're what statistic, I remember you showing the stats, they were like top 2, top 3 in hardpoint and overload, right?
Yeah, I think they were number 1 overload going, or they were top 2 in both of them for sure.
So let's just put it that way, right? Like they're a top respawn team. You can literally, you have 3 weeks now to kind of set your brain aside and focus on how can I get better at search? Where can I get? Just like this is that could have been really useful time to do that. And like again, the changes in the same way we can also talk like we have to play devil's advocate here. A change could have been really good if, let's say, if QK, who they were trialing, he was instantly making the team better, and it was obvious as hell that he was going to be better replacing, and let's say Kiz went back to sub, whatever change they were going for there. Let's say that would have made him instantly better in a way, but how much better could it really make you in anything but search? Like, that's more the thought process where I had a kind of difficulty understanding where.
Well, that's what I said to Ben on the last episode. We had a whole combo about this, Ben, and I'll bring back up where it's like, you know, there's no guarantee he comes in and fixes them. And I know that you were amongst the camp of like, he was nasty at S&D, and there were a lot of people who thought that. I looked at this team and I kind of thought like, dude, there's no fix for just losing your mind on no roster change, I should say, for just losing your mind on LAN. And clearly the organization, and obviously like the higher ups at this organization were hard pushing for like a change. It's at least what it seems to me. And clearly like, him coming in was not the answer, which forced him into this spot. Which I mean, even at the same time though, like QK is also a new player. This hasn't been a pro before. Like in the same way, X needed time to adjust. Like you need time, bro. It's not like, and like mid-season changes are always rough with that in mind. Unless you have a player that just is going to slot into what you're trying to accomplish and has had the experience before, that you have a thought process, I guess, that is he's immediately going to be better than what your other player was before. But again, in this case, I feel like no matter what you did here, it wasn't necessarily going to do much better. If anything, it was going to be a lateral move in some cases. The only places that these guys really need to change or for say lock in on is obviously search and whatever is going on how they approach these matches on LAN, like something there. And that's probably the hard, like if I was a coach, let's say I was in Clay's shoes, like that is probably the hardest thing to find an answer for, because of the fact that you go through your practice every day, everything looks great, and when you get into the shining lights of a main stage on a LAN event, like a lot of the thought process and mindsets that you have just disappear for whatever reason. This is how it should go, bro. Like roster changes, realistically, especially with a team like this, right? It should go, all right, is there something we feel like we legitimately can't fix? Because when you look at all 4 players, they're all individually like, we're playing fine. And if you decide that there's something that we can't fix, then okay, we're going to commit to this roster change and then hopefully get back to where we were and fix our S&D. But like going back on it to me is just crazy, which means from the beginning, the decision wasn't firm in that we can't fix it, obviously, right? Because now they've clearly went back and they feel like they can fix it because they're running it back with the original roster. So to me, the whole like roster change discussion and even trialing, I just don't think was the answer in the first place. I feel like I feel like in these things you have to hard commit to it. But go ahead, Ben, if you're gonna do it.
I just think, again, and we've talked about this since the beginning of the season with this team, they're an org that, like, these decisions, it's not an old school thing where like the players are making the call and then management says, yeah, that's fine, or actually it's some hard vetoes and let's talk through it. Like, it's a top-down decision that's being made by the org, and the players get input, but like that's it, they get input. And I think to your point, like I do think that I think they thought that QK would come in, the team would still be decent at respawn, and it would be more clear via the trial, like one of those directions will work, and clearly it didn't. And then they're like, well, maybe our best option is to stick it, but is that trust still there? Like,
Yeah.
I kind of see how they get here, though. I talked about this yesterday on the flank, because they are kind of now, with how bad the team has been at land this season, kind of now stuck long-term in the two decisions, or one decision they need to make between two paths, because I don't think they can really necessarily do both, because XNIT hasn't really panned out into being a superstar. I don't know if QK's ready. Guys like Nox in general, they could be good, but again, none of those guys are like tier 1, tier 2 CDL all-stars. Do they want to commit to a full Saudi project? Or do they want to make a superstar team in the offseason? Because they could try and do a continuous thing of let me finish my thought, of trying to take a Saudi player and pairing them with 2 or 3 CDL pros. But like, I think the issue is that directionally this offseason and future off seasons that may preclude them from getting certain players that are going to have better choices than that, even when you consider the plus economics that something like Falcons are going to give relative to other orgs. So I think that they're in a very, because they probably thought this team would obviously play better than they have. And they're now kind of faffing about, and they have some very difficult decisions to make short term, because they're not guaranteed to qualify for champs now at this point. And then long term, because everybody and their mom, and we talked about in this show and on the flank and on streams, that like, you know, you could see potentially Joe Deceive, Simp, scrap and sell on the team next year. But is that the path the Falcons want to go down?
Whoa. The second you
Odd one.
signed Celium, you were saying we want to win championships and build a super team.
Yeah,
so that whole thing about the all Saudi roster and everything that you just said, to me, is irrelevant, because honestly, the second they signed Pred, I was kind of thinking that. And then when they signed Celium, it was like, for sure, like, we want to win.
Unless they see an avenue where they feel like the Saudi talent is good enough to give them a chance to win eventually, then that would be the only avenue where they would flip that. But I just don't see that being the case right now.
I don't think they're like a dumb org. I think they're, you know,
no, they're not.
Smart org. Clearly,
Keep even in a lot of other esports.
So for them, they wouldn't be. Yeah, you're not signing. Like, they've thought this out. They're not signing Celium and Pred and these guys and then going to go back and go all Saudi roster. They would have done that and built upon it coming into the year, in my mind, and they didn't.
I don't think it's. I think their goal this season was, can we surround Exton with enough talent that he can develop? I think that was the goal, and they wanted to go out and get the best players available.
I think the goal was to win.
Well, yeah, but obviously, then by developing,
I think they thought
Exton
Exton is good enough to win right now, and they went and they got the best players available to put around XNID to win. I don't think it was we want to get players.
But they also know
you don't get Celium to develop your player. You get Celium to win a championship.
But there's no way, Ant. There's no way that they thought after last year that XNID was like 100% ready to be like a super all-star. They thought that maybe with the right nurturing he could get there, but realistically, there's like zero chance. Can I finish my thought?
Yeah.
There was no chance, and if they were thinking about that, I don't know how nobody else in the camp between Denz or Clay was like, we need to like be a little bit more cautious in our approach and understanding that Exit may not fully develop and we need to be accounting for all options. I think, unfortunately, another thing we need to consider with Falcons, and I know, Ray, you're an avid golf fan. There was a big announcement in the last couple of days about the Public Endowment Fund on Saudi Arabia really realigning their approaches, and you're seeing that there's been developments in the soccer world about them pulling back investment. There's been news in golf about Live Golf potentially having their funding pulled. We have not heard any updates on EWC yet, but sort of industry rumors are that there's some, I don't know what's going to happen with that this year. So, Falcons have a lot of sponsors that are PIF-backed companies. Like, there's a bit of an investor angle, and I don't know how that kind of factors into a lot of their thinking, but it's complicated, man. They've really super underperformed this year to all expectations.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Can I just kind of trail back on the XNIT thing? Do you not feel like he's been good this year? Like, he's been improving in a good way.
I don't think he's the reason they lost on LAN.
I think he's one of the reasons, because I just think that as he has definitely gotten better, the problem is that, like, in order to be elite, he's got to make better decisions in those pressure situations on LAN. Like, that's where people get paid their high salary for, not because they can fry an online, bedroom or
you were
LAN
in the
office scrims.
call with us when we were watching the VOD of the Falcons. it was not Xnid the reason that they lost.
Yeah, there's other issues on the team. I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
All right, that's all I wanted to hear you say. And
it's why I've been saying since day one that fucking kids should be running a sub on this team.
Okay, so if we go back on that, then like I don't know, everything else that we just said, I guess, is speculation on what their intent was with the roster. But to me, the intent was to win, like clearly. So I don't think they're gonna go all Saudi on the team. Unless those guys were all just like ready.
Here's a stat, just for the sake of that conversation, like literally excluding LAN, which the entire team has struggled with, which I think is unfair to rate a specific player on that. Like, granted, he's obviously struggled as well, but the entire team has. He is 16th in KD, and he is where is he?
And that's
he's
like
top
the top
20.
tier.
Yeah, but you have to remember again.
He's 16 in KD. Slayer rating, he's right next to Paco in just speaking hardpoint, right?
He is. That's a large volume of online matches. They have not played many LAN matches this year, and that's the moneymaker. Like, bro, I get that. I'm more like I'm not trying to use that point because the team has, like, if a team struggles, we've all agree, especially nowadays because the games are so team centric. If a team's not playing well together or not performing as a whole, then the individuals will also lack on that end. Like, it's just which I agree with. That's fair take.
So it's like, so on that end, like, let's just completely, I agree, bro. Like, LAN is where it matters. That's where you're showcasing your talent. But if your team's struggling on LAN, then you will struggle as well. So just where the team has shown prowess online, T's been one of the reasons why this team has been playing good.
That's another thing with these trials, Ray, is like, how the hell were they even trialing like S&D? Like, that would have been the main thing. Exactly. So like, when you're making this decision, like, clearly it's like, okay, we can't fix search, then we just got to commit. And I wish we knew. We probably won't ever know, but I would love to know how the scrims went with QK in for Xid with Pred on the team.
Yeah. I'm more so where I'm going with this is more the idea, like, from an outside perspective, like, yeah, the team has not been performing well on LAN, but I feel like Xnid and the team has been progressing holistically in where they want to end up.
Yeah.
Like, if the organization feels like it's taking too long and they've tried to do this, obviously that's probably one of the reasons why they try to do this, or like, we want to win now. Understanding, like, right, like you kind of have to take that, but what it is. But I feel like where they're going now, like, I hear, unless Xnid's really having struggled communicating what he's trying to do in game and whatnot, which from the listeners we heard recently, it's not the case. Like, the last listen I heard was in an online game, right? Maybe it's not the same on LAN, but an online match, he was literally directing comms in an overload. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like, to me, he's making strides to be the player that this org wants him to be, to give them a chance to win with him. Granted, like, you can always take the highway out and just like get a simp or whatever in the offseason if he's available, and obviously they probably have the pull to get him with the financials that they have, if that still remains the case.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the direction this team right now has been going in, I still believe this team has a chance to succeed in the way they want them to succeed. They just need to keep progressing in a way that will not make them as respawn dependent as they are. If they can be performing in search in the same way they're performing respawn online, then they go into LAN with way more confidence, and then hopefully that confidence is enough to get him out of whatever rut they've been in on LAN. Like, again, that is the hardest thing to pinpoint and fix, because if those are like mental lapses that you just get because you're not in your environment or whatever it is that is causing that, those are very, very hard things to have answers for and how you fix, like, mental coaches, sports psychologists,
roster change.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no good solutions.
But again, like you okay, so at least the roster change. Let's say 2 or 3 of the 4 players are having those problems. Like, let's say whatever it is, like, it's not just because all 3 besides Sahoud have been I've won champs. Like, let's just not even say one form. They've all won champs besides Xnid. So are we saying Xnid's like the only player that's having those issues on LAN?
No, the issue, and one of the things we identified with this roster off the rip was, like, it was a bit awkward fit of playstyles coming in. On top of, obviously, Xnid really developing his identity. We thought Kizm was a little bit awkward.
Because they were good, Ben. Like, that's the thing. We have to add the context of the season so far. It wasn't like, I agreed with you coming in, but then they proved all of us wrong, and they were good, legit, playing good ball. So it's literally just LAN. Like, And
yeah, but land is what people land is how you make your money in
you
this
say
league.
that 20 times, man.
I know.
I get it.
I know. I get where you guys are going. I get where you guys are going. I understand the perspective that they have been great online, but to me, the core issue is I never really liked the fit of this roster. They have online and inline been actively one of the worst, if not at times the worst S&D team in the league, and they have been buoyed by the fact that Respawn has been pretty deep online, including map pull and execution. But then you guys know you go to LAN, that times up and they can't buy one in S&D. And like, look, this program may be, well, let me finish my thought right. This program might be coming at a good time where they get a tournament format where they can really ease in, right? Because I expect them to play good online, right? And get a top seed in a group and probably play an amateur team in that first match, get some momentum, then win that next match and carry that into the weekend instead of, listen, they've had some tough draws in some of these brackets. They've had to play good teams early on. They haven't won those games. And maybe this format finally like lets that team like develop the identity and land and actually be a real contender.
but they're compromised now, bro. Like,
not necessarily. You don't know that. You don't need to assume that. They have a fairly easy stage too. I mean, they have a tough start. They play. I mean, it's not easy in any capacity, I guess. They play Toronto, Vegas, Surge, Miami.
I don't know that they're
then
compromised,
Cloud9.
but I'm just imagining from a player perspective, losing all that time, coming back in after being on chop block, hearing stuff from other people. It's just a lot to go through as a player, and to try to stay like positive and not have any type of disdain either for management or for the team.
I mean,
It's a
that's going to
lot.
be on Clay and the staff to like reel him back in and like help him understand like you got to live in the now. Like this is your opportunity you have now. Don't worry about what happened then, what happens in the future. Like you like, bro, this league and like even this life of being a pro COD player, bro, is not something
Stressful.
you are. You have to you deal with all kinds of punches left and right, bro. You have to deal with it now. Like live in the moment. That's it. That's all you control.
They didn't
If you
drop
start
is a
focusing on
horrible
other shit, bro,
feeling.
you're just pointless. The last thing I want to say though about this team, and before we move on, like, and what I want you, Ben, to more understand the thought process is like, and this is more my perspective as a coach and whatever GM positions I've had in the past. Like obviously the goal is to win every major. The real goal to me is always to be the best you can towards the end of the year, because those are the events that people remember, and those are the build. Like again, we're all doing this for a living. Those are the real money makers, right? Like I mean, Optic was trash. I mean, okay, sorry. Whoa, I said Optic's trash. I'm getting clipped for this. I'm sorry about that. But they were great for most of the year last year, and then they go and win the last
They
two
went
events last
18.
year.
They were trash.
And then they ended up making the most money out of any teams last year because they won champs in the WC. So that's more so the point I'm trying to say here. So with that being said, they are building in a proper direction to reach that point. They were sketching in the respawn modes at the start of the year. They showed flashes, but in Major 2, they really solidified themselves as a consistent, good hardpoint team and overload team. They have lacked in search all year. They made some changes towards the end of Major 2. They are now hopefully on the path that will get them to the same place as they've been at the start of the year in respawn to get the search by the end of Major 3 or hopefully into Major 4. Everyone finds more comfort. You're now a good team at all modes going to the last 2 events of the year. Your team hopefully gets through their land vows or whatever wows you want to call it, whatever yips. Let's just call them yips for the sake of golf terms.
They got the yips.
They got the yips on land. So they get through that point, and then now we have a solid team that has 3 world champions, solid performers that have competed at the highest events in the world and that have been consistently doing well for years, going into champs and EWC, the big events that you want to do well on. Why is a change necessary? Why are we thinking, like, why are we so Debbie Downers on a team that was so, like you said, that had so many different roles and mentalities, probably come from different areas, different teams. Cell's been on a team for what, 5-6 years now, had specific coaches, specific players next to him. The changes that he's been around has been minimal. This is a huge change for him. Kismet has been on a few different rosters, had a roster last year that really struggled, had tough. Pred had his own issues last year with one back and forth with Optic, and then ended up on this team last year with the changes they made. Couldn't have been a good situation. Saud's new to the league from last year. Like, all of these players had to kind of go through these changes at the start of the year, and this is not something that changes over day, bro. These are not changes that clicks like this. Like, you need time, and this team has now proven that they're going in the right direction. So towards the end of the year, I expect this team to do well.
I just gotta say,
I agree with you, Ray. The problem, one thing, this is my last time, Ray. I agree with you. The problem, and you know this, is like management is not happy when you get back-to-back top 8s.
No, I don't, dude. I get that. I get that.
But the situation that they're in is
that.
when you watch the VOD, these guys on LAN, it's way different than online. They were progressing. They were getting good. You just have to figure that out. I said this last episode. I got absolutely roasted for it, saying that the Falcons need a change. I don't think they needed a change. like I said, you just like when you strike gold, which they did in the online portion, they played every team, they looked phenomenal. You gotta try to refine that. Like Ray said, for the end of the year. That's literally all that matters. And this decision, whoever's pushed for it on their side, it could have damaged their team. So this to me is one of the most intriguing storylines. This split by far is to see how the Falcons perform after all this shit that just went down. Because
bro, everyone needs to start understanding too that winning this league is fucking hard, bro. Like it's not easy. Like there are so many good teams and players now, and the way the games are formulated, like it's just very difficult to be consistently a top team in all situations. And again, we play like Ben said, we play fucking a majority of our matches online. So when you show up to LAN, it's like it's like being a Super Bowl situation nonstop, where it's just like you show up or you put out or you're fucked. Like it's like everyone sees you being good or great based on a day's performance. Like that is astronomically insane to think about, bro. Like the same thing, bro. And I just to putting in the light, like again, bringing the optic situation early last year, this team won champs and then literally struggled for 2 months, where they had the most insane losing run you've ever seen out of a team.
They were bad for longer than 2 months.
It is, but I'm just saying, like, it is fucking hard. Like, I'm just using them as an example to showcase how difficult it is to be consistently good in this format, in this league with these players that we have. So, like, we need to be a little more, like, I don't want to say open-minded to teams having issues. And I mean, I get your jobs as content creators in some ways is to be hard on these things and like obviously create the content, whatever it is. I get it. But I just want to make sure that we're not losing sight on the fact that it is fucking hard to do this shit and be good at it all the time.
First of all,
it's not a given, bro. You have the most money in the world, the best players in the world. It's not the case, bro.
Second of all, I've been advocating for them to keep their team for a long time. Like,
listen, right. I'll repeat what I said. I hear you again. Like I agree with you that like it's not easy to win, especially with how consistent some of these other teams are. The problem is management doesn't always agree with that. And when they pay a lot of money for a team, they have expectations. You get back-to-back top 8, doesn't matter how good you play online. The pressure piles on, unfair or fair or not. And that's kind of how you end up in the situation that Falcons are in currently.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just the last thing to all that is like,
but that's just kind of how it goes.
But like none of it matters though, because the team was in a good spot and there's no change that you can make with the challenger players that's really going to take this team to the next level, because they were dominating respawns already. So like, unless you're picking up a proven LAN player who's going to come in and make sure everybody plays the right way on LAN, it's always going to given. And even that's not a given. So for them,
there's no given.
The answer was always
like there's guarantees.
Yeah, the answer was always, unless you're getting like a sim or something, was always keep the team. Like that was just the answer from the start. So I think it's the most compelling storyline coming into the split by far. And
they're trying some role changes, but they got to get going now. And our top 8 in this thing will.
But like even then, like if they fraud, I mean, I guess if they bomb out at the next major, but like I don't know.
100% they will make a change if they bomb out the next major. The management is not going to let them get 3 back-to-back top 8s or worse.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen.
Ongoing storyline.
If they focus on Surge, they will be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
That's if I was in their shoes. That's where I'm like making sure we got third set S&Ds, making sure we're treating every search practice in the best way possible, trying different things if needed.
They lost
focusing
some time
on the new maps. Like but at the same time, like they did lose some time. But it's as long as you put the time in when you do have the time, like now, they'll catch up. It's not.
They their worst S&D map was also removed from the. Their worst S&D map got removed from the pool. They were horrible at class S&D. It's now fucking gone. So see if that helps them out.
Practice the right way.
But their best hard point also got removed too.
Yeah, that's true.
They're fine.
A lot of stuff changed.
Clay's got these boys unlocked. They're good.
Yeah, I like the Falcons team. Once again, like I said, LAN just got to figure it out. But let's move on to the marquee match of the weekend. This split, so not as crazy as last split in terms of you only get 5 matches. So for the teams that are lower in the standings, very important you catch some dubs online to try to move up. We can look here. Falcons are in 7th at 140, right next to Koi, 140. Ravens on the outside looking in at 110. So those will be the teams, and even Miami with the 145. Online is going to matter a lot, especially given outside of Koi, like LAN hasn't gone too well for any of those teams. So got to make sure you're back to your winning ways online and getting yourself a couple of points in a good spot, a good seed going into this pro-am. But there's some decent games this weekend. It's not the hottest start. But on day one, on Friday, I have the marquee matches Miami versus LAT. I thought LAT started to play a lot better, especially on land. I think Nissim proved himself. And at the tail end of the online split, too, they were rolling. Miami fell super flat. What do you guys think about this match? What do you want to see from Miami? Let's start with you, Ben. What do you want to see from Miami in this match versus the Thieves?
I think it's the same thing from both teams. Just improving their efficiency. I think you saw at times with Thieves at the end of the online split that they were playing some really good aggressive team ball, and it got away from them by the time it gets to the weekend of the event. And for Miami, we've spent a lot of time talking about their efficiency. I think this one will be really interesting with the new map pool. Like, will we see new maps in it? Does this go to distance in which one of these teams shows off in S&D? Like, it's a fun one to get early and see where these teams are at starting the stage.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to see Abizi and Hydra with the NPC in their hand, bro. I feel like it should be awesome, especially, you know, we were talking a little bit about like Saki and Gridlock earlier in Hardpoint. One, LA Thieves are already becoming a really good Hardpoint team, but like that, you know, we talk about Gridlock, you really punish teams. I kind of look at LAT as a team that could maybe benefit from that. But just the players they have, like when they're on an island, they're like trying to be a nuisance. Like, they're good players. I think it should help them a lot. But yeah, Ray, what are your thoughts on I guess the meta changes for both these teams? What you're kind of expecting and what you're looking forward to?
I think the new maps are gonna favor Thieves. I think they'll help them a lot, to be honest. I think that'll just kind of like what we talked about playstyle wise wasn't being necessarily adapted to what like the way Optic, let's just say the faster teams were playing. I think the new maps will require not as much pace in that end. So I think this is something where these guys will feel more like immediately just feel more comfortable more in their kind of office on how they approach the game for that. So I think
lost, right? Like,
yeah. I think the real interesting thing to me and what we're gonna see like the search is for this matchup specifically, like what new search maps are played and how it impacts Miami, because Miami's super sniper driven with super. I'm actually interested to see how that kind of ends up playing out, how many of the new maps we see being put in. Like the vetoes for this weekend are be actually a lot of fun to see how teams approach this, because it'll be the first time in a while that we have 6 maps. Actually, well, I guess not. Never mind. We only have 5. 5 and an asterisk because one is not going to be picked. But it'll be interesting to see what teams go for in terms of what they pick.
I mean,
but yeah,
for Miami, what we got, I mean, Fringe should be really good for them in S&D, right? Like the sniper, I think, is going to have the biggest impact on that map, like potentially of all the S&D maps. I mean, dude, like mid trains, everything.
Gridlock will probably be pretty big too, especially how Miami approaches the game. Like they like sniping in a lane where they push, and the lanes are so secluded and long on Gridlock. Yeah. Like if you go street, for example, like he can basically just run street in the zone. So they'll be able to get control of like the DP4 building pretty fast. If I remember correctly, where the bomb sites are.
I'm just thinking about Miami and like what super gives them
on Fringe, like bro,
it's like
if they're scared of the sniper mid and they don't not like sniping back, bro, they're just gonna take mid away from you every round. Not like sniping back, it's gonna be hell. Bro, they're just gonna take. I'm curious to see if that gets in, and then like back to the HP thing, like just thinking about Saki and Gridlock, and then like push up pretty far, like just thinking about Saki and Gridlock and really get lost. Like Hydra and Abizi get up and Gills should have a good time and really get lost.
I gotta
benefit them a lot.
I got a feeling Gridlock's.
This should benefit them a lot.
I got a feeling Gridlock's.
What's going on?
I'm not hearing anything.
Are they talking? They're all talking in BENJ stream, so I don't think. Are they talking? They're all talking in BENJ stream, so I don't think we're good over here.
Okay, just go to nameless stream.
Hello. We're good over here.
What I will say, I'm not. I'm just. This is more of an educated guess, but I think Gridlock's probably gonna be one of the most vetoed HPs. I'm just. This is more of an educated guess, just because of how polarizing it is.
So if Clifftown is GA and Gridlock gets vetoed,
just because of how polarizing it is, you're gonna see a lot of Saki. I think Saki will probably
Gridlock gets vetoed.
Very cool, but I think Gridlock. You're gonna see just based on how you have to approach Gridlock compared to all the other maps. Just based on how it's extremely punishing. So compared to all the other maps, it's extremely.
It's a lazy map to just. If that's your auto ban, you're just. It's a lazy map to just. If that's your auto ban, you're just a lazy team. I fear.
Well, it's not really, bro. It's just again, like I'm used to. It's not as easy, and again, like from an outside perspective, it's easy for us to say, just play the way, just play this way on this map, play that way on that map. But from a player standpoint, point, when you're being so bang heavy on some of the faster maps, like if you go like Colossus HP, for example, to
then game 4 Gridlock.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that is such a different, like that is bipolar in terms of how you're trying to approach the map. So that's why I see like the teams that have been good at hardpoint so far, I feel like will probably not be so into Gridlock, and the teams that were not so hot on that kind of mentality and pace at the start of the game will probably be big on Gridlock.
I swear,
that's why I think it'll be vetoed a lot.
If I see like Saki and Gridlock vetoed in a series, I'm like the first series, and then Clifftown's GA'd. I'm gonna be so annoyed.
I think we'll see a lot of Sake because it kind of has all the elements. And it's actually, I think it plays really well. It's actually fun to play. The few times I've played ranked on it. So I'm assuming, again, this is just, I don't know what the pros think, but from an outside perspective, that's what I'm assuming.
All right. I got Thieves winning that one though. I got them winning that 3-1.
I have Thieves winning as well. Sorry, I'm killing my dog.
I think Thieves are low key I think they're gonna be in a good spot to split. I'm very bullish on Thieves now. After what I saw, they had a lot of improvement. But let's move on to the Saturday, our 4-match day. Got some lopsided ones like this FaZe versus Boston. And then we got two kind of, I guess you could consider these bangers in the middle, just because I'm excited to see what Riyadh looks like and Koi coming off of that hot performance. So I think both these matches are kind of bangers. But let's talk about Gentlemates and G2 first. Where you guys at with both these teams? I feel like they're both in the same exact spot, kind of, or like around the same area. I think Gentlemates had some improvements at the major, and then G2 kind of just hovering.
I'm still pretty big on Paris. I've always been big on Paris. I think they went through a low end there. It seems like they've been put, like, again, these are reactions off the few scrims that I've seen them play against Optic, because Optic streams all their scrims, and they've, from a record standpoint, head to head, they seem to be matching up pretty well with Optic, which I will respect any team that can do that against Optic, because obviously they're a good team. But there are a lot of teams that have been, Optic isn't blowing teams out in their scrims as much as they were before, which I don't know if it's a product.
Close, same as Saki.
They could be a product. It could be a product of teams catching up, or I mean, there's a million things you could look at for scrims. There's just scrims, really. But yeah, I'm actually interested to see how it's going to play out. I foresee, I don't know, this is more of an educated guess again, and I think Gentlemates will be a team that will make Sunday for this next major. I'm expecting them to be back. They're back.
I mean, they look good at the major. I mean, they had a little bit of a run.
I think they were just lackluster in certain areas. I think it's just a team that to me approaches the game in a good way. So if they keep doing that and they start, like, if all the players perform to the extent they can perform at, I think they'll be a battler.
They just got to get more consistent in their S&Ds. I mean, that fell off for them like a hard in the last split, and then also they dealt with a lot in the last split personally. And then they had that 5 days or so where they didn't get practice because of breaking a GA. So I think, assuming they get better practice this split, they're obviously coming off of a little bit of momentum from the last major, and just kind of a fresh restart with some new maps. Like, I'm with you there. I think Gentlemates are in play to become a contender again, and this is a big match for that.
Envoy is notorious for being good early games, and to me, that's one of the reasons for that is because he is very, very good at learning how to be good at certain maps on basically new maps when the game comes out, because everything's new map. And I think there'll be a team that have figured out a lot of the things on these new maps quicker than other teams.
Could be them, yeah.
So I think that's another result of where I see this going for them.
Ben, what about you? What are your thoughts on the Gentlemates G2 matchup?
Gentlemates is a big weekend for them. They had a really disappointing major 2 split that they kind of saved a little bit of at the event. But they played really poor online, and they're playing 2 teams this weekend. But they played Carolina right on Sunday as well. 2 teams.
Friday, first match, Carolina.
Yeah, so they're playing 2 teams that I think that their major 1 form they would have beat. I think at minimum they need to go 1-1 during this split. And to your guys' point, the new maps are an opportunity for a team like this. It's when they want to, they lock in. They're a really smart team. They can kind of get ahead early on those maps. But if they struggle this weekend, we got to have a tough combo that this team really fell off form wise. I don't think so. I think they're going to go 1-1. I think my predictions are going to go 1-1. They're going to lose to one of these teams just because it's early, and what I'm saying, people got to ease in a little bit to the matches after not playing for a couple weeks. But I think Gentlemates may be a big beneficiary of these new maps. As for G2,
I'm with you, Ben.
Yeah, I think they should thrive with these new maps. I think it really helps them out and gives them new energy. As for G2, they're kind of in that middle of like, we're decent, but we're like, how good are we? And they have not made any changes this year. I don't think they get super hurt by the maps that got removed. But again, they're another team that they take advantage of the new maps. They can be another hard out squad that can really grind their way through Major 3. So I'm excited to see that matchup between those two teams.
I saw Ray make a face with like the hard conversation thing, but Ray, I'm kind of with Ben there because these are two like winnable games. If you do go 0-2 and it looks bad here, that's a rough spot to be in for the Gentlemates. After coming off of like a really up and down split, given the break that we've had, new maps being added, like I would expect a team with that type of roster to be able to at least go 1-1 this week. And you're going to need it. You only have 5 matches and they got 2 Friday and Saturday versus Carolina and G2. I don't think it's necessarily going to get like way easier for them. Let's see. They have Boston, they have Optic, and then I'm assuming their last match, is Miami, right? So to get a good seed, you're going to want to at least go 1-1 this weekend, which I believe they will. So we can keep it pushing. On Sunday, we got Surge in Carolina, Toronto and Boston, which I don't know. And maybe if the Boston team gets a lot better, both those are kind of looking like they should be heavy favorites winning that. And then Riyadh and FaZe Vegas. So I put the marquee matchup of this day as the Riyadh and FaZe Vegas match. Optic C9. Yeah, that's goodness gracious. That's the last match we're ending with on Sunday. So talk to me about Riyadh and FaZe. What do we think of this? Is this going to be a FaZe stomp?
Well, did FaZe play Boston on Saturday?
They played Boston.
I mean,
Saturday.
I don't know. I mean,
they're gonna win
that. I mean, FaZe have been a little bit consistent online. They lost the Falcons during the Major 2 split online. Like, I could see a world where Falcons upset them. Again, people are playing potentially new maps for the first time in matches. Like, things will go wrong in these situations. But I think form-wise for FaZe coming off of a really good Major, the performances they got, especially from Draws in 04. We saw them play Optic a couple of days in scrims ago. They looked good. Like, if FaZe play the way they played the Major, they should be Falcons. But again, Falcons have been really good online, and they have a, like, I think like an energy right now, or should have an energy right now, that they need to really prove something to split, or it's going to get kind of ugly for them.
You guys can call me faded or not, but I feel like when I was watching the Major, like FaZe in the Major, like during the Major, ascended into like a new tier. Like on Sunday, the way they were playing COD was beautiful, bro. It was like the first time I saw a team, I guess outside of like the finals for Gentlemates, where I was like, okay, this team low-key might be able to beat Optic consistently if they play like this. Like FaZe was playing insanely good team ball on that Sunday, especially in that grand final. So if they play like they did there, I don't think this series would be close. What about you, Ray? Where do you think FaZe is at, and do you think this match will be a close one?
It's hard. Honestly, the map pool is going to make it pretty hard to predict how we see these matches going on, because there's, again, new maps. There's always kind of like a new, let's just say, skill gap to how you've approached them. And you're basically, if a team really wants, let's say a team like, what was it, the Falcons were playing Colossus and Blackheart basically every match for major or early majors. Now, if you're going to be a team that wants to play Saki or Gridlock, you're going to get one of them. So if a team hasn't been able to adapt and learn the new maps in the best way possible, then you're guaranteed to get at least one in the series. So it'll be interesting to see how these matches go. I still see FaZe standing on business. From what I heard from a scrim standpoint, they haven't really backed off a bit. They're riding the high that they've been on since winning the major. So I only see this team kind of getting better as the year goes on as well. Just because of some of the performances that we had from individuals wasn't necessarily the best, but a win like this gives you utter confidence moving forward. So,
bro, I swear, community
see these guys
watches a different game than I watch, bro. Because FaZe were they were hooping, bro, and especially in that grand final, like they look like them and Optic like drew a line in the sand from the rest of the teams, in my mind. So if they play like that, I think that this one's not entirely close. But I hear your point about the new maps getting added. Definitely could affect them, but I expect them to be a team that picks these maps up really well. They play good COD.
Like, the one thing too I will say is, like, there's 3 new search maps, which, I mean, there's a decent chance you see minimum 1 in the game. You might even see 2 depending on the teams. But like Riyadh, you would assume is for sure going to be like focusing on these new maps and making sure they get they get ahead on these maps more so than other teams because of how much they were struggling to search beforehand. This is like a perfect avenue for them to kind of climb up the ladder in the search end. So you're going to see, you might see some, like, I don't want to like even this matchup, like we know is a good team, and obviously FaZe is a good team, but in certain cases, you might see some teams that weren't necessarily good at certain modes become a little better because of these new maps right away until other teams figure them out. And search is a mode that is very kind of like scenario based in practice, and you're not going to have seen everything. There's different teams will have different approaches, and you've only scrimmed them for like what, a week and a half, and like that's if all the teams scrim search and all their scrims. So you maybe have like, let's just say 10 reps on the high end of playing a map, which is not nearly enough to really figure out and seen all the different strategies and mentalities that are proper to approach certain scenarios. So I think there's a lot there that's going to be really fun to watch, and we're going to see some really messy search rounds and not necessarily the most coordinated stuff right away. So it'll be fun to watch.
Absolutely. One other thing to add specific to this matchup, Ray, is that the big role changes for Falcons and S&D. Exit apparently moving to a flex will run sniper for this team. And obviously, I assume that means that kids will run bomb, which is going to put a lot of onus on AG to open up maps for them. If you know, other players aren't necessarily getting those quick engagements, or they're not getting a quick pick with the sniper, and they got to send someone out to find a blood, it may fall into.
Well, they tried this, Ben, at the end of last split, remember? It wasn't looking that great. Yeah. With Exit pulling out that sniper.
We'll see how it plays out against a team in FaZe that, you know, I think we talked a lot this season that they've been a pretty hard out S&D team. So
I will say Kismet looked better with the change, though. Him being able to kind of get loose and make plays. Their search started to look a little bit better. But Exit on the sniper, I don't think they tried it too much, but they did try it, and it wasn't that great.
Can I say something about this split as a whole? There are only 5 matches for each team, and everyone has like seemingly, I'm just looking through these like the schedules for each team. There's a lot of weird schedules for certain teams. So we're gonna have I think we're gonna have some weird pools going on that major 3. There's gonna be a lot of like super strong pools and really weak pools because of that.
Yeah, like
I don't like the unbound
splits
schedule.
Kind of tough.
That's why I don't like this schedule. I think it's a stupid schedule. The fact that the league keeps doing these unbound schedules is ridiculous. Like people can just get fucked in the beginning of the season on just a random schedule draw, and like there's just the fair way to do it is just do single or double, like round robin. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, like Koi plays Surge, C9, and Boston, like which should be just straight 3 wins. It's like, let's see, what's another team? Let's go Gentlemates. Gentlemates have.
I mean, go look at Boston's schedule. Like, bro, like.
Oh my god! Good, you see this, right?
Yeah, tough scenes.
Oh my god! I would like if I was a challenger player, I'd be like, "Yeah, Boston, I'll join you guys, but like after your first 2 matches." Like,
absolutely,
your first 3 matches, like holy!
I don't have an easy matchup,
guys. Do you see this?
I'm not a fan of this approach, bro. I think it sucks, and the fact that everybody's just cool with it is crazy to me. But
I don't think anybody. Like, that's the thing, though, Ben. I don't think anybody's really cool with it in a way. Like this, just those are the kind of things that you just have to.
No, the league is with it. I've asked this question to Daniel, and I'm gonna dive in more. Like they're content. They want to continue to explore other ideas, but they're content with the unbalanced schedule. Like I don't.
All right, so I gotta push this along, guys, because I'm gonna have to go to rehearsal really soon. We got some call-ins. Let's bang through some of these real quick because these can take a bit.
Just finish your thought though, real quick, right? We'll get some.
Bring back the whole like show, the pool show with teams picking who's in their pool and shit. I thought that was great. I love that one.
I like that. I love that too. No, doing the 2 groups was sick.
Wait, remember when I drew the groups Optic and EG in the same group? That was lit, dude.
The only change I make, Ray, is that you can't pick the same team to go another pool back-to-back splits, and that's what's screwed in core. Is that people are picking the same team in the order it was done. You can't do it back-to-back.
I feel like that would change now because of how many good teams there are. Like back then, there was only a few teams that were really kind of at the top. I think with the the equality we have throughout the league, that would be different now. But yeah, right. I agree.
Frankie Mojo, welcome back. A mainstay on the show. We enjoy your questions, brother. Welcome back.
How we doing, boys?
Doing pretty good, man.
What's up, Frankie?
Pretty good.
All right. Well, you guys did a great job talking about maps and weapon metas already, so I'll spare you from those. You guys pretty much answered everything I wanted to know on that. So teams that have changed heading into this split, it's what Miami technically, right? If you want to include Real.
No, I wouldn't include them. Yeah, I wouldn't include them.
Boston, Carolina.
Yeah, Ravens, Boston, and Surge, right?
No, Ravens keeping the team.
Oh, Ravens kept the team. Okay, so just Boston and Surge.
No, Ravens made a change.
Well, I don't know why. I thought he was talking about Falcons for a second. I don't know why.
No, they got.
But yes,
Okay, well, either
Ravens,
way,
Boston, Surge.
So those are the 3 teams that essentially made a change. I want to know if you guys think that there are any other teams that should have made a change during this little window of time that we had, because we're heading into Major 3 split. Champs is coming up. Time is running out in order to start making these sort of core changes that a team would need in order to prepare themselves for champs, right? Like the best options in terms of challengers kids are being grabbed up already. So I'm wondering if you guys think that maybe a couple of these teams are going to regret not making any changes heading into the split.
I mean, C9 is the only thing that kind of pops out as a team that probably should have.
C9 is kind of the exception because, like, you know, they're not.
Right.
They're just.
But like
that's not an exception though. That doesn't count. Not they change.
Boston and Vancouver need it to find a way. Like, those teams are out of the champs. Like, same thing with Carolina. Like, the 3 teams that made changes are the 3 teams that are past the 8 mark. So I would argue those are the teams that for sure should have been looking to bolster up and try and find a way back into the loop. Because obviously, if you're not succeeding with the roster you have at the start of the year and you want to making champs, to me is like, this is where my mentality as a coach is always like, the only real like super, I mean, really, really big failure is not making champs. Like, making champs should be an absolute fucking given, bro. Like, no matter rosters I've had, like, even like I would argue like all the changes I have to go through on the year 1 with Surge, the thought process was never like, okay, yeah, wow, we have to make so many changes, there's things we couldn't control, blah blah blah. Like, you're still looking to make champs, bro. Not making champs is, in my opinion, is I'm gonna say things I might regret in the future. If it happens to me, I'm gonna be sad. But like, it's basically almost embarrassing, bro. Like, you can't fucking allow that. Like, that is the main event. That is the biggest event you want to be at, no matter what. Even if you just barely squeak in, like, making champs should always be your priority. So if you're not in a place at this point of year, I mean, I'm looking at the standings right now. Like, Boston's at 60 points, Surge at 65, Carolina's a little closer, 30 points behind. Like, you fucking need to be changing things drastically to find a way to hopefully hit a diamond in the rough to where you're going to start winning matches and potentially make a Sunday. Like, a minor change doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, the teams that changed, I think, needed to make changes. I do think Boston probably should have made another change. But yeah, I mean, Surge probably should have overhauled the whole roster. So I guess the better question would be like, did they make enough changes?
Yeah, did they make enough?
That's probably the better question. But yeah, I think all the other teams are kind of fine.
The answer honestly might be no.
No,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too.
What do you guys think about? I feel like the only team really that could be considered in that conversation might be G2, but even then, I feel like G2 is probably going to be fine for champs.
Yeah, they got 165.
They're 55 points ahead of the team right now, so as long as they keep doing their thing, they should be okay.
Yeah, but that might be the one team that, like, at the end of the season might have been like, okay, we should have made a change. But
I mean, it's more like, if you make a change, like in the place they are now, you really have, there's never a guarantee, but you have to really be confident in the fact that this change is actually going to make you better and fast. Like, there's what, 10 online games, there's a minor, and there's 2 majors left of the year. Like it's not like you're gonna have a ton of time to prepare and change, or whatever mentality you're going to be bringing in with a new player, assuming it would be a challengers player that potentially wouldn't have much experience. You really don't know if this is going to help you or not beforehand. And it just feels like their position right now, you probably have more to lose than to gain in a way. By doing that.
What's the downside?
I appreciate the question though.
Yeah, no problem. And one more for Ray, real quick, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick.
I always wondered, like, when a team wins an event, right, like FaZe just did, and they become the number 1 team for the split. In terms of, like, metagaming and the metagame, behind the actual game itself, do they have such a massive target on their back to the point where every team is coming after them, and they need to start, like, being a little more creative with their approaches? Or is it really just more like, we're the best team, we need to keep doing what we're doing, and we need to just not really worry about that?
It really depends at the point in the year. I would argue now, like, they probably still feel like there's a lot of things that they can improve on, so that's probably what their focus is now.
Okay.
If it's in the later stages of the year where, like, most teams have gotten to where they're going to get to in certain things, then it becomes about kind of trying to like twist your map pool in a way where teams are not expecting you to pick the things you're going to pick. So I'll give you an example. The first year when I was with Empire and we won champs, we were 0-6 on a Zero Cave going on the playoffs, which was the champs that year. And then we started picking in every series at champs because we had worked on it behind the scenes and we hadn't picked it for a month. So we basically had been focusing on the map that everyone is expecting us to just veto or not pick. And then we just transpired into a pick and one of our main picks going to the last event of the year. So those are the mentalities that I think the approaches teams make later in stages of the year. But where we are now, I think their approach is still more so let's figure out how we can pluck all the holes in our map pool where we can really improve and never lose the maps that we're good at. And
especially with all the map changes. So,
correct. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah. All right, Frankie, thanks, man.
No problem. See you guys next time.
We love Frankie in here in the CoDCast. He's a mainstay.
W questions
out of Frankie. J Dogski, what up? Another mainstay. Welcome back, my brother.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed a couple episodes. I've been busy.
We're good.
Okay, I have one really minor question and one about player stocks, like the Falcons, and the Falcons have can we all agree that they have big names to the point of nameless, you said it. If you pick up Celium, you're thinking to win, not to develop a player, right?
Yep.
But if every single event they go to, they look good online, but then they go to an event and they crash out, do you think that going into the offseason, there's a stock is a little bit down, and players teams are gonna look at those players I don't know, because how do you have Celium and Pred on a team and you can't get top 4?
Yeah, I mean it hurts the stock of a Pred for sure and a Kismet for sure. I mean Celium's stock's just so high already that I don't think it would take a lot for his for his stock to fall unless he individually just started massively underperforming. But yeah, I mean, it definitely affects the view of the rest of the the community, and I would assume pros have of those players if they're getting to land in their break and just not playing the right way. I mean, it all comes down to this, bro. It all comes down to what you're putting on tape, and what the Falcons are putting on tape on LAN is nowhere near the same as what they're putting on tape online.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you can just see it in their gameplay. But yeah, it definitely does. And does that mean nobody will want to team with them? No, but yeah, I mean, your stock's obviously gonna be higher if you're winning and playing well on LAN. That's what matters by far the most for these teams and these players when they're looking to have a roster change.
Do you guys think LAT, if they bomb out again at champs, that could ever put in a damper on scrap stock?
Not scrap. Scrap's insane.
No, yeah. I agree. No, but if you go to champs enough times and bomb out every single time, it's why is that happening every time?
I don't not at that level though, because I think Arnie's too good of a talent and people will be willing to just take the risk because he's so good outside of whatever the fuck keeps happening in events. Sometimes he's part of the prom, sometimes he's just a team unit failing, situation for the lost to New York Sublars. They're the best in that game, other than whatever the fuck happened on Sunday where they just got swept in 2 hours. So
I should not have said scrap. I should have said maybe a Paco.
Yeah, like an Abizi or Paco.
Or Abizi, yeah.
Even Paco's kind of hard to affect his stock just because he's individually still insane. But the players who are the glue players, who are the players who are touted for being good on LAN, for being champions and making the plays on Sunday, that's no longer happening, then yeah, their stock gets hurt by that for sure.
Yeah.
All right. I have one more minor thing because it broke while you guys were talking about the Falcons and stuff. Do you guys see the new Call of Duty movie is being made?
No.
Call of Duty has a new movie being made. Yeah. Releasing in 2028. Official.
Well, that's been rumored to be in production for a while. That's not crazy news. We've known that there's Paramount. I think it's producing it, if I remember. It's been reported for a while they were working on it. So it's just there's CinemaCons going on right now. So you're seeing all the studios really give their sort of upcoming announcements. And to your point, it looks like Paramount's announced a release date of 2028. So
I have not seen all that. I just saw it got released that it's in production right now. The script's already out.
Listen, Ben, we're there opening night, brother. We're there opening night.
Wait, go back to the press release. Who's actually producing this movie? Who are the producers?
Paramount.
It's co-written by Taylor Sheridan. That's
Taylor Sheridan.
Peterberg.
Well, you know what Taylor Sheridan the action will be good. I don't know about the storylines and the writing because that's kind of a critique of some of his shows, but.
They just need to steal the COD 4 story and then just make that movie.
Story they steal,
That first mission in Russia, bro.
Just give me all gillied up in a movie, bro. That'd be lit.
Well, I was thinking of COD 2. The COD 2 first mission in Russia lit. I don't remember COD 4 campaign. Oh.
You don't remember the all gillied up where you had the ghillie suit and you're like
COD 4 was a great campaign.
It's been a while.
That could be
COD 4 was awesome, bro.
In a while.
COD 4 had the best campaign, bro.
All right, J Dog, appreciate you, man. See you next week.
Have a good day, guys.
Yes, sir. We're there opening night, Ben.
I'm down. I'm keen.
All right, here
I'm
we
getting
go.
cooked, guys. I'll watch plenty of Sheridan shows. Trust me, the writing on the shows are not as good as you think. They're eye candy shows. They're visually appealing, and they have some great acting, but the writing generally on those shows is not that good.
What's up, Core?
Hey guys, how we doing?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Not too bad. I had a question around the weapon meta, and yeah, just looking to get each of your thoughts, and maybe Ray, from your perspective, if you had any conversations on this with your players when as a coach. You know, I agree with what you guys are saying, that the best games are the ones where there's more than 2 viable guns that could be used for the meta. I was just wondering, do you think that this kind of ideology resonates with all the players in the league currently, or do you think that there might be, going into a new title, almost the mindset of we need to narrow this down to 1 SMG, 1 AR?
I can go first, and it's quick. I was really thinking about this the other day because we were actually on the golf course, and this came up with me, Joe, and Ben. We were talking a little bit about it. You know, I'm giving our takes and kind of like, yeah, it's awesome if we have a bunch of guns that work. I am now starting to realize, though, that I think a lot of the pros just haven't played games where we've had like an assortment of weapons, like we did, like in a Black Ops 3 or in a BO2 or like back in the day. So I don't know if they actually know how much fun it is and how much better it is. I do think there are limitations to that, though, where if the guns aren't balanced in the game, it's hard to do. I will say it, in an ideal world, it is way better. We just haven't had it in so long. Like, you think about like IW, we had like so many different guns. It was fun. You know, ERAD came in late. We had the NV4 as the main AR. And you know, BO4, we had a couple different weapons being used, the hybrid guns. Like, I think those are the best metas. I think a lot of like current day pros didn't play games that have had that, so maybe they're just unaware and willing to go the extra mile to like find a balance of where, like, find like the guns that where we could have like 3 or 4 in, right? And that would take some time. That would take a lot of testing. And I know they tried some guns this last week or so, and they just got to the point where they added the NPC, but that's just going to probably replace the Dravic. So yeah, I definitely think there's a disconnect in what like viewers and some of the older heads would want in terms of weapons and the pros. And maybe that's just due to them not having played some of those games. But I'll kick it over to Ray, see if he has any thoughts on this too.
I think the part you put about the game itself just having guns that are viable to use is, I think, the main part. Like, it shouldn't be a thing that's forced. It should be something that we like, that's seen as like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I like using this gun. It does X, Y, and Z better than this other gun that's pretty similar, but it gives me a better stance to play here. Like, typically I have like the slower movement, long base weapons that are lasers that kill really, really well from a range. And you have the same thing with subs, close range to mid range. Like, there's typically 2 guns that kind of pop out to you from an AR and a sub standpoint. But I just don't think that's something that's really seemingly popping out fast enough for pros at the start of the game in these last couple of years. Like, to be fair, it does seem like, I mean, there's so many guns that just insta kill that just would not be fun to watch or play with at the pro level. So I think it's more a product of the games and the balancing we're getting right now that we're not getting that. But in a perfect world, we do get that, and it'd be sick. But I just don't think it's something we can force in.
Yeah, no, agreed. That makes sense. I mean, obviously, the guns need to be at a state where they're not overpowered and actually
also
could work, but
it's definitely easier to shoot from range now, and a lot of the guns that would be considered like hybrid guns, you can zap up close and far. And with the movement that we have in today's day and age in COD, like, that roll is just not like, all the ARs are just that roll now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just different. Like, just in a different age. So yeah, the guns just have to be a little bit more, I guess, balanced, and it would require a lot of testing. Like, could we get there with this game? I mean, maybe. Who knows? They'd have to really like test it and find like a good balance, but it'd be difficult to do. But before we get to the next question, Ben, do you have any opinion on this?
No, I think you guys covered it.
Sounds good. Thanks, Core.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right, here we go. Let's get. I think this is a debut. Iron D Jaguar. This is his debut.
Hey,
what up?
How we doing, fellas?
Good.
I want to say thank you for the podcast, everything you guys do. I love listening to it. I always watch back the VOD. My question's like kind of complicated. I don't really know how to ask it, so I don't want it to be too terrible for you. But I don't understand. So with the drama that we've had going on with the adding into these maps and pros saying like, "Well, I don't like it," but then also BENJ and a lot of the community are under the impression that they don't have any real say. Is it like coming more from the top side of like Activision, like above the league? Does that make sense of like making these decisions on league? Or the game of rank play, everything, the league itself. Like we had a great system in World War II, and then we just said, screw it, we're not going to do that anymore. Why would we do anything that makes sense for like rank play? I just don't understand. Is this somewhere higher up that is causing these problems, whether it be lawyers or anything? I don't know which one of you. I feel like all three of you might have a say in it. I just don't understand where this is all coming from. Because I also don't believe that the players should be allowed to make these decisions because they're biased as hell. Like no player is going to be, like for example, like last year, 100 Thieves wanted Rewind in, nobody else wanted it. Well, it's because they were asked at it. 100 Thieves are really good at it. So I don't think players should be allowed to be making the decisions either. Do you understand where I come from?
Well, players didn't decide the Rewind thing. The league did. They arbitrarily just decided it was the most banned map, even though that was not a particularly great data point contextual in that situation. I think the answer to your question is it's a bit of a black hole. I think there are times where the business unit of COD does weigh in because sometimes a map, for legal reasons, can't get played in competitive. But I assume it's a combination of the CDL and the studios to make most of those decisions, and I just don't know the composition and who weighs in them. But it's a mix of both those parties essentially.
Yeah, but like, why is it that we seem to have such really good things happen, and then they immediately get removed or changed when genuinely, for example, the World War II rank system, like a solid number. This is what you get when you win. This is what you get when you lose. You move forward. Oh,
it
yeah,
was a good rank system.
I
mean, honestly, there's just a lot of. I mean, we change games every year. I mean, there's just a lot of shit that's going on. A lot of one studio to the next, like Greenside said, and then there's just. I mean, Ray kind of said it earlier. There's not a ton of time in between these splits, right? So like if there's not open, active communication the whole time, it can get murky. And then, first things first is to go to social media, right? So I think that's why it seems like a little chaotic sometimes. I mean, you're not wrong. There is chaos seemingly every year whenever there are big changes.
I just don't understand how it can't be something where it's like, okay, we had Black Ops 2, Hardpoint. Everybody loved it. You know what? Let's just start doing that from now on.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just start doing BL2 every year.
Well, I mean, in a realistic or unrealistic ideal world for me personally, we would have our own entity the same way Warzone is. Ranked would have its own entity. You could put in whatever maps that you want, a lot like what COD Mobile did. You could change the meta every single major.
Oh, man.
I mean, you could do boots on the ground for this major. Next major, we're doing jetpacks.
My guy, Iron D is living in the clouds,
I think that might be taking it too far.
This is a COD dreamer, and I love it.
Yeah,
I think it's decent ideas. I think you can get crazy with it. I think at the end of the day, it's politics. I think sometimes everybody's aligned. We've had years where, unfortunately, sometimes the studios have a specific design decision. It doesn't really fit what the community or the competitive community wants, and they sometimes tell us to fucking kick rocks. Like it's just how that politics situation works, and unfortunately, it's a bit of a black hole. Do I think the league and Activision could do a better job messaging out on decisions? Sure, but they unfortunately choose not to, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah, there's a lot I could say here. What I will say is that not everyone sees things in the same way from year to year when COD comes out.
True that.
So
But listen,
let's just leave it at that.
I just want to say this, Iron. I appreciate you for being a COD esports dreamer. Listen, we've all had moments where we're like, I just wish, why can't we just have like this game and this and this? Yeah, we all think like that, bro. Just know your head's in the right place.
Just to your point, though, like you brought up the hard point for Black Ops 2. We did not have hard point in Ghost the year after. So,
so there you go.
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
So just
or
again,
CTF, right?
I think we all need to be happy where we're at now, because things were not always better, even though we make it sound like they were.
For sure. So did anybody play Ghosts other than S&D?
Yes,
I mean,
he's on Iron though. Thank you, man. I mean, I think he might be forgetting that, like, we just lost 2 game modes, or we had a game where we just didn't have LAN. I think it was MW3. We just did it.
It went from 6 events on Black Ops 1 to literally, we're not gonna have LAN this year.
Just no LAN.
Holy shit, brother.
Hey man, great time again, fellas. It was a fun episode, dude. Wait, did we got everybody? Oh, Turtle joined. Wait, I could do another one. Why not?
You did one more? All right. What last one?
Yeah, last one. I gotta scoot to the studio. Turtle, what up, bro? You're the last one.
How's everyone doing?
Doing good. Real good.
Yeah? Good. My question, when did pros become lazy and entitled? What changed in Call of Duty? Do you think it was the money? Do you think it was social media? Because a lot of these people just come in and are entitled, and a lot of them were just brain dead, and I don't understand why.
I don't think it changed. I think we were like that too, dude.
Yeah, but you guys had passion with it.
No, I think.
I mean, they do too. I don't say they don't. I wouldn't say like if you're don't encompass the majority. I think they're all passionate.
You guys are playing for $500.
I think. Okay. Well, that's. I mean, that's not on them. Like, trust me, me and Ant would much rather be in their shoes than we were in our own shoes. Kidding me? Like,
absolutely.
rolling in 6 figures to play COD. That wasn't a thing back then, but. I think it's unfair to really signify that things are way different than they were. Like, I think it's more just the times. Like you kind of like you mentioned social media is like we kind of had Twitter, we had GB forums back then. Like it just wasn't used, and like I guess in the forefront like things are now. Like the way the world, I mean, we're gonna get real philosophical here, but the way the world as a whole is way different than it was back then. The way the generation of humans that are now the ones that are professional COD players is way different. Like there's so much you can go on about here if you want to get in depth to why things are different than they were back then. And it's not just with COD, it's not with just esports as a whole, it's also with professional sports, and just you go in the ley land of the world, like it's just everything is different. So I wouldn't like pinpoint COD pros as being like oh my god, these guys are just completely different than the rest of the world. Nah, it's just, I think again, just times have changed. Things are not the same as, like, I'm assuming, how old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm younger than Hex.
Okay. So just more so you're in me and you are probably in the same range, that we have seen things
probably
through different ages and different times, right? So it's easy for us to compare what was and what is now, but I just think it's, again, more so I think it's just everything in the world that is different, and it's
get it. But when they come back to me and they say, well, nobody told us that we had to do this, it's like, that's your job. Like, when a new map comes out, all maps should be played on all modes. Now, obviously, if you have a Rust map, obviously you're not going to play on that map. But every viable map that looks like it can be played should be tested out. When they say, "Oh, well, nobody told us that we had to play it," it's a new map.
Well,
you should be playing it.
I guess they just had more. Like I think Ray said, it's just a different time.
They have 3 weeks to do it.
We'll get into a philosophical talk about it, but like, bro, when rules and maps came out back in the day, like we just played it, but like it's like objectively better now that like all the players and stuff have input on things, right?
Yeah.
Like you just gotta find like that fine line where like stuff actually gets added, where it's not biased. But like back in the day, like we were playing with sentry guns and shit at one point. You know what I mean? So I think when people look back, it's easy to.
It was great, by the way.
Yeah, for some people, but like when you look back, it's easy to reminisce and like romanticize the past when things weren't always better. And I think we were similar, maybe like the pros back then to pros now. Like we were always kind of like, oh, this is shit, or this game sucks, or could be negative at times. So I don't think it's massively changed. I just think sometimes when people look back, like yourself, like Ray and I could do sometimes too. You kind of like look at the passive rose tinted goggles a little bit. Aches does it all the time. Like he's the number one person who does that.
He's there to do that.
It's easy. It's easy to do that, right? But it's not really a whole lot different. The pros just have
it's
more.
A lot more organized now. I feel.
Yeah. So,
but it's a lot less unorganized in an organized way. Like the fact that decisions are being made through Twitter DMs is just a fundamental issue.
Listen, you and Ben solve this. Get the committee going, man. This is Ben.
The Discord's been made for 3 years. It has. We've made it.
That shit's never gonna work. On top of
I love when Turtle comes on because your Turtle's like Philly NJ accent kicks in. I feel like we're on like a Philly sports talk show.
Mamba got me fired up. So
wait, who tweeted you, Mamba?
Well, me and Mamba had it out on Twitter. You can look it up.
What happened? What was the gist?
We were going back a little bit about because he was responding to the Ben tweet about the GA Clifftown, and he was like, "Well, there's nobody to scrim." I was like, "Scrim some empty." And he was like, "Well, I'm just supposed to chalk a whole scrim for one map." I was like, "Nobody said anything about chalking scrims. At the end of a scrim, you scrim like what 2-3 teams a day or something. I don't know the exact what it is that they don't even schedule themselves, by the way, and they could just scrim an AM team on it." And I'm like, "You just play the maps, get good on it." And he's like, "Well, nobody told us that we had to play these maps." I was like, "Bro, what are you talking about?" He called me a moron. I called him moron for GA maps. So,
Turtle, welcome to the
I love Turtle, man. It's a good one. Bro.
It's a good one. Thanks, Turtle. Appreciate it, bro.
No problem. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
You too, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Great episode. Younger than Hex.
Great episode.
Good pool. Great episode. I will be uploading this right away. Audio listeners, make sure you guys give a 5-star. YouTube, leave a like. And Ben and Ray, I'm excited for the match this weekend, boys.
Yeah, I'm too.
I'm excited to see a new map, bro. It's gonna be fun to watch.
It's gonna be hella fun. I'm ready for that first match to have Saki and Gridlock vetoed in Clifftown GA. Lit.
Nah. Saki's gonna be in. Saki will be in the first match. Calling it.
All right, chat. Much love. Take it easy. Ben, enjoy New York. Ray,
W fucking episode. I gotta bounce for. Oh, they already ended it. Guys, I gotta bounce. My dog's getting antsy. I got a few chores I gotta run with him. We'll have a much longer stream tomorrow. I'm gonna be live way earlier. Probably like try and be live by like 9ish tomorrow. So way longer edition of Coffee and COD tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm just here. I'm babysitting my dog. I gotta take him to do a few things. So I'm gonna get that done. I appreciate y'all tuning in today. Longer stream tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed. Appreciate the subs and the resubs. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.